Okay, hello, okay, shut up, Kitten. Hello, you're listening. Hello, this is Kitten Teachers. Kitten is naked. And he has a bikini.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Was it GSD? Is that the official thing? Standard time? No, it's G. Well, see, I was trying to talk about this with someone before. It's whether it's standard time or daylight time, and I don't know if you say like
in America
GDT.
It's wrong time.
Whatever. But it is August 17th and Sunday. And we are starting today, as you heard with the silly intro there, because it is a bit special and fun. Today we have a special guest, which all of you should be watching in the video stream to see for yourselves. Who are we joined with today?
Kitten Features! Yay!
Hello, Kitten Features! How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Yeah.
She's just fresh back from the US, just flown in a few days ago.
So tan and blonde.
All tanned and blonde, as happens in the US. You don't really have a choice. It just happens when you go through customs.
Great big orb in the sky I hadn't seen for a long time, and I'm not sure what they call it here in Scotland.
I don't know, but we tend to worship it a few hundred, 2,000 years ago when we saw that one time. But ever since then, we've not really seen it. That's why I'm very pale and she's not so. But yes, Ken arrived in the UK just a few days ago, back finally. So it's been how many months since we saw each other? Like 7 months? About 7 months since we saw each other. A married couple. Yeah.
And almost a year exactly since I left Scotland.
Yep. So it's a crazy time. She's actually back here forever and ever.
Forever.
And now she's stuck with me.
I am.
Nice look. Forever? Like forever ever?
Forever ever. Forever ever ever ever. So things are very good on our end. How are you, Mr. Wayne?
I am doing pretty good, other than, and I apologize to everyone on the stream who is listening audio because it took me a minute to get those encoders going. Again, I didn't realize that they were the last thing up. When it's not even 8 minutes before a show starts and I go to close out of things and focus on just the show itself, and I get a blue screen of death. Just death. Everything stopped. That really made me feel great and ready for the show and professional
and
like that.
As Hando said, it's because there was too much haggis in the interwebs. So the Scottish internet's fail. Really, it's just really my fault somehow.
I see. I like that. I like that idea. Way less responsibility of me. So I'm good with that.
So how are things on your end? How have you been in your non-geeky life this week, sir?
Non-geeky. So I was trying to decide, like everything, whether things qualify as geeky or not as I go through. So some of these are kind of on the edge, but I'll say for non-geeky things, had a send-off for a friend of ours here, a ninja send-off, someone who is going to college, and so had to head out of town up in Boulder, and in doing so, stayed a little later in the evening and went and checked out a movie that I knew basically nothing about. And the movie was the new one that just came out called The Giver. And apparently it's based on... Is
that porno by any chance?
No, it was in theaters.
Like a porno to me.
Regular theaters. Nice Kitten.
It's called The Giver.
Would you rather be the receiver?
Were you not forced to read that in like 6th grade? Because I was.
Okay,
no,
so
we don't have a 6th
we were
grade.
having a discussion about this when it comes to the differences in ways we all grew up. When I was going through those primary schools and the different kind of literature that we had to read, I read things like Ayn Rand, I forget which book of her specifically, but the one talking about dystopian world, similar kind of concept, but much less exciting or twinny written. I had to read all kinds of things like Dead Poets Society and stuff, kind of classic literature, things like Oedipus, which, ugh. So,
I know the story, I've never actually read it myself.
All that classic literature and things that I really did not enjoy, where I've talked to a lot of people in the following generations about some of the books they get to read for school, and it is nothing like what I had to read. So The Giver, no, I had never even heard of this. But yes, the people I went and saw it with all said, oh yeah, we read this in school. I was like, what? What do you mean you read this in school?
Yeah. Well, a big part in Scotland is obviously the whole Scottish poetry and stuff. I mean, we had to do a lot of that, like Tam O'Shanter and the likes, and lots of Robbie Burns. And all that stuff's kind of forced. So alongside that, there is also some Shakespeare. Hamlet is obviously kind of popular since it's kind of based here, and the likes. But Oh, Hamlet.
Based in Denmark.
Oh, whatever.
He means Macbeth.
Macbeth. See, I didn't read it myself.
English literature.
She did English
Right.
literature, I
Yeah.
didn't, so...
Yeah, there you go. See, big difference.
Swap
We
it.
we gamed and did math and sciencey things. What's this
Yeah.
reading stuff for other than
I
fun?
don't know that.
Well, that was one of my big problems too. Is in literature class, I hated literature, and it's mostly because it wasn't about reading for enjoyment. It was reading for silly like analytics and such. Like I had to care what the person was doing at the time, what was going on in history, and what his influences might have been, his or her influence as an author. I didn't care. It was like, is it a good story, and do I care about the world or the characters you're describing? So I was really bad with literature.
Well, we had to do Catcher in the Rye. I think that's kind of a popular one these days. It's kind of a must
funny,
read.
I didn't get Catcher in the Rye. I had to go pick that up myself to read. You know, just because I
wasn't a
kept
fan of
hearing
it.
about
Everybody
it.
in my class loved it, and I absolutely hated it. I hated the guy, and I honestly thought it was badly written.
Well, so that was the way I felt. I thought the main character in Catcher in the Rye, I kind of despised him. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, why does anybody care about this? I could almost understand just because at the time it was written, it seemed to be a big deal because of the whole like
Yeah.
anti-establishment thing. But otherwise, I was just kind of like, meh. I don't really care about the character. I kind of wish he would die.
I don't think you're supposed to like him. I think he's kind of like one of the original anti-heroes, you know? He's supposed to invoke some form of emotion from you. That's what reading's all about, isn't it?
Well, it is, but when
emotion.
I dislike the person I'm reading about, it makes me not want to read further. I'm kind of like, unless somebody kills this character real quick, I don't care. I mean, because, right, there's the total difference with something like when you're reading, you know, we'll go with a modern one, Game of Thrones, because that author, George Martin, is amazing about making you truly hate characters and despise them. But at least when he's describing characters that you really hate, he's also introducing you to characters that you quite enjoy. And so there is still a reason to read it. It's not just because all you do is hate everything that's going on. You kind of hate certain individuals and you think circumstances are over the top, but otherwise you're like, but this character's so cool. And then he does even a more masterful job of later taking characters you despise and make them into your favorite characters. That's brilliant. That's good literature. The
I
stuff
agree.
from
That's
back in
because
the
it's
day
mixed, right? So you have the guy, yeah, exactly. You have the guys you love and the guy you hate. Sorry, I'm not going to ruin it because there is a spoiler alert here. So I'm going to give you all about
Oh, come on.
5
Well,
seconds here.
You could
to mute
do
it for a couple
spoilers up
seconds.
to what? You could do spoilers up to book 4, I think it is, or something. Whatever the series is up to.
Yeah. So spoiler alert has been given. Game of Thrones spoiler. Here we go. When the fucking king dies, that is the best thing ever.
Wait,
because-
you say that. It's like
Actually.
which king? Because
Well,
they kill
yeah.
so many.
the king through
The most hated king.
the most hated and official king.
But I felt so sad because I love to hate him, you know, and I
Yeah.
felt it wasn't climatic enough. Like I wanted something more. I wanted him.
I wanted him to
like,
be stabbed through the throat
anally
instead of
raped or
poisoned.
something like that.
Yeah, I wanted him to be destroyed, but sadly he wasn't.
Well,
He just died.
no,
It
that
was
was
a bit
more-
brutal the way he died. It was too slow. I kind of wish it was like a proper stabbing.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it wasn't. I don't know. I felt.
And that's the thing. You want each of the characters that died like that. You want it to be in the most epic, horrible way where it's truly earned because of all the angst they've put you through reading about it. And that character specifically, you want to have die in the most horrible, drawn out. Actually, it's almost like you would rather he was treated like Reek.
Yeah.
The one who becomes Reek. I forget his name. One of the Kraken. The son of the
Greyjoy, yeah.
Theon.
it's-
Theon, yeah.
Theon. You really want his like the torture Theon goes through is what you wish was happening to Joffrey, where it's kind of it's mixed and out of order. Where Theon did some horrible crap, right? He was bad, a betrayer, and just kind of evil in his ignorance, but. It wasn't like committed evil. He thought he was doing the right thing and trying to be a good Kraken and doing all this stuff like that, and got horribly punished for it. Like, oh my god, over the top, as many bad things, in the book it very much describes the way his teeth are destroyed and his digits and everything, where you're just like, oh my god. And unfortunately in this, in the movie or in the show, you get to see who it is right away, so you recognize him. In the book, they just describe the character as Reek, and so you don't know who went through all that. Until
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Later there's a reveal where they talk about him as his former self, like, oh, the Kraken. And so you don't know who's going through the torture. You're just like, oh my god. And then when the reveal comes, you're kind of like, oh, deserving, but wow. But then you go back and you see the way that Joffrey does, and you're like, really? I mean, it's great that he does and at such a high moment, but you really wish it was like I don't know. Someone took a large, spiky thing and stuck it up bad orifices.
Exactly, just like
kind
you
of
did
thing.
with that hooker. That's what I wanted to happen to him. That
But
poor,
yeah,
poor
exactly.
woman.
Oh my gosh. So anyhow, yes, literature and so modern books. People have found ways to do a lot more of that than the classic stuff I had to read in school. In fact, I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 books I ever read that was a sign that I truly enjoyed. Everything else was just like, oh, I don't care.
I read 2 books that I actually enjoyed in high school, and that was The Odyssey, which is a piece of classical literature. And to be fair, I wasn't even forced to read that. I was told to go read a book at the library, and I decided to pick it up because I thought I'd be like, I don't know, I thought I was cool by reading it. And then I really liked it, and I was like, oh, I actually did like
Nice.
it. Great, I didn't expect to. It's a good story, and along with Holes, the film wasn't as good, but the book was awesome.
Another one I never read, heard it was a decent book, but again, that was younger generation, because a lot of kids I knew well, and that was kind of thing. When I went to see The Giver, oh yeah, that's where we got to all this. The people had all read the book, and so they knew what was going on, but I found it to be an interesting movie. They changed up a few things, and there were some, not necessarily plot holes, but things that weren't explained well enough that I was like, I don't know if I buy that as an answer. But overall, I enjoyed the film. And just kind of, more of the world it described and how the essence of it being that society had chosen to essentially take away all of their way of dealing with the world of emotions and stuff like that so that they're in a non-violent, everyone's happy and gets along kind of way of living. And the problems that come up with that are actually the good and bad, and then one individual who's given the opportunity to remember all of history of how the earth really was and how people really were, and the effect of becoming that individual that has to learn all that when you grew up in a society that had no understanding or knowledge of it at all, and no one else does except for the one person who's the receiver, the holder of all knowledge, essentially. So it was really an interesting concept, and then the story that plays out with it. So I enjoyed it, but that was totally like aside of anything I expected was going to happen, and I wasn't even.
I'm looking at the critical response here on Wikipedia, and it's saying that it got 30% based on 101 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems to be generally negative reviews from critics everywhere. 46 out of 100 on Metacritic as well.
Okay.
So that
Did
doesn't
you
look too
enjoy
good.
it, Wayne?
I enjoyed it. I was entertained. Now, I will admit, though, the acting was kind of meh at parts, and it really got me
Well, had Taylor
because...
Swift in it, so
Well, actually, no. She was one of the better actors. Honestly, yes. No, she was, for the role she had was just fine, and did well. It was actually some of the main character stuff that was just kind of you didn't really feel it. Some of the characters did a great job. Others, it sucks when you have a younger cast and they do okay. And then the one other one is oh shoot, I forget his name off the top of my head. The old guy that plays the actual Giver. The same guy that was in Tron and everything else has had his resurgence.
Jeff Bridges.
Yes, Bridges, and I really did not like his performance. It sounded like he had cotton balls in his mouth the whole time, just this mushy way of talking that I thought was just terrible. What's going on? Kind of deal, so yes. Alright, what else did I do that was not geeky this week? I unfortunately have not been training like I should be for this Tough Mudder that's coming on, but I just heard about all the obstacles that are going to have, and it sounds like all of them deal with ice-cold water, so I feel like that whole trend that's going around right now about the ice water challenge to raise money for
Have you seen that on Facebook? Yeah,
ALS.
I've been quite
it's everywhere.
tempted to do
It's
it, actually.
everywhere. Well, did you see Bill Gates doing it? So...
Bill
got
Gates
challenged.
did it.
He got challenged, so he did it.
That's awesome.
I've seen some
That's
actors
so
do it. In
cool.
fact, the main actor that was in Guardians of the Galaxy, the lead guy that was in that, he just did it. Called out a bunch of his co-stars. For us in Nebraska Husker fans, Bo Pelini just did it, our coach, as well as he challenged his brother and all the head coaches of all the high schools in all of Nebraska. He challenged. See what happens with that. But all those kind of things going on. So I feel like when I do the Tough Mudder, I'll be doing that challenge myself. Because it honestly called out like 4 of the 15 events or something as being ice cold water. Ice cold, muddy, slick, terrible water. So I kept asking myself...
Just having cold baths and cold showers every day and you'll be fine.
Oh, that's the thing. I'm going to start like trying to do cold plunges, go for a run, and then jump in an ice cold shower or bath, something just so I can not stop functioning. Because that's this thing they say that gets you is you'll be running and go up an event and then you end up in this ice cold water and it takes the breath out of you.
Yep.
And people have challenges even going on. Like one of the events is having to crawl on your stomach through slick cold mud up a hill under barbed wire that's only 8 inches of clearance. And so I'm like, I think I'm thicker than 8 inches. I'm gonna be like dragging my
Your
back
throat
across.
is more than 8 inches for sure.
So no, that's a serious concern. As I'm going through these events, I feel like I'm gonna have to have a headscarf or something on, something to like cover the fro. Otherwise, it's gonna slow
it would
me
no
down.
longer be the Frotion, it would just be the Atlantic Frotion.
I just don't understand. Oh my goodness, Kitten. But you're not. No one's forcing you to do this, right? Like you're doing this like voluntarily.
I made a deal with friends of mine that if they join me in the Boulder, which is the 10K run I did earlier in the year around my birthday, that I would join the Tough Mudder with them. And I had heard pieces of what the Tough Mudder was like, and then my El Campo's wife actually sent a link that said, here's all the events that are involved in this, which made me kind of reconsider, although I've already paid the $140 to do this to myself, because it raises money for Wounded Warrior and such like that. So all these runs are really charities. Yeah, if I'd gotten in at the beginning of the year, it would have been $100, but I waited. And now the tickets are like $180 or $190 to do it. And people are still buying. So, yes, I'm paying to get tortured to myself.
No, you're paying to give yourself an incentive to become fit. To be a fit individual. That's what it is.
No, I'm paying for what's going to be a horrible experience that at least I get to check off and never say I have to do it again. Much like if I ever do a marathon. So I'm trying.
Facebook photos.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you dude, get your GoPro. Get your GoPro.
Yeah,
I'm tempted
Attach
to,
it
and
to your
that's
shoulder. I want to see. In
well,
fact,
that's
do a
partially
special
why I
show
did it.
expedition.
Well, I have a head mount for it, so I could put the GoPro on the head. But I've heard from a lot of people that said it won't survive because some of the actual things you do are electrified. There's at least 3 events that have electricity, where they're pushing. Some of the wires have 10,000 volts going through them. And they've shown that if people hit the wrong wire and get shocked, they will like face plant into the mud because their whole body basically loses control and just and they go down. And so there's like videos and shots that I'm almost afraid I'd catch one on the camera and just it would explode or something. So I'm still going back and forth as to whether I bring the GoPro and
I still
see if
say
it'll
to it
survive.
because that sounds so funny.
Especially
In a
if you
way, I-
faceplant. Oh my gosh.
No, thank you, Kitten, for giving me the good juju on not killing myself during this event. Woohoo! Oh, shoot.
Well, that's the thing. You should be. If you're going to do this event where you're going to get shocked, you're going to get drowned, and you're more concerned about the camera's welfare than your own, it's really not that big a deal bringing the camera anymore, is it?
Hey, the camera's a new toy. I've had all of me for a while, and I've proven how old I am. You guys all saw that video, right?
Did you see the video of him falling on his face over and over? I'll have to show you later. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, thanks.
I can't wait.
Yes, me trying to roller skate, inline skate on a skate park, and it's been a while, and it definitely felt it. So anyhow, the other thing I did that I was going to bring up is that I went to a party last night up in Boulder. Again, I've been there far too often this last week. A lot of driving. But it was for a group called Block 1750. And what it is a dance group, a dance crew. And it was just an event they hosted to try to raise some money. And so much like I go to School of Breaking to do the breakdancing and everything, this is a different school, different group up in Boulder. But they just kind of hosted an open party, a night for all the different dancers to get together and just have fun, charge $5 a head, and they were trying to raise some money. So I went to that, and I was playing with the GoPro again in my camera. I got a lot of photos and video from all these people who are pretty dang good dancers, and I'm quite jealous of their skill. But hung out last night doing that, which was a lot of fun. I found out the GoPro, much like any camera, still needs a lot of light. And so it was a very dark scene, and they had it like the main lights off and just the lights kind of changing colors. So it's everything from like, it definitely looks like a rave party or something. And I at least went into the cypher once. And so I got in there and actually danced in the middle of the circle for a moment, but realized I have a lot of work to do because where you guys might think I can dance a little bit, these people compete and are really good dancers. And so for me, I was
you can
kinda
dance
like,
to us, but it's the same as like, I like to think I'm good at guitar until I play with Hando. Then Hando shows me I don't know guitar. It's the exact same with you in dancing, I bet.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, because these people are really good. I actually need to step it up in class. I have a goal, at least one, for before my next convention coming up for Nandescon. I want, because I'm playing the character of Mugen from Samurai Champloo, one of the things that he does, and my friend Lieutenant Fork reminded me of this, he does some breakdancing to actually like fight during the anime. And so she wanted me to learn to do the little backspin, basically the windmill maneuver, to learn so I can, in costume, be able to do it. I was like,
cool, yeah.
I'll try. I talked to my instructor, who's an amazing dancer, and he was like, Oh, yeah, we could probably work on that. It's like it took me about 3 months to learn it. How long do you have? I was like 3 weeks. And so that might be an
so
entirely...
So you're his tonight then.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be a mess. So anyhow, that's a lot of what I've been doing, other than running around taking more photos that I'm trying to not work on, so I can work on editing the wedding photos that I still have queued up, as well as everything else going on. Although I did post the video that I had taken from the dancing yesterday, and so I'll throw a link into the show notes from that, and you'll see some really great people out there in the way they dance. Not me. So, with that, that's what I've been up to, not geeky, this week. Ken, how about you? I'm sure you've been pretty busy doing things non-geeky or doing a geeky thing.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, not been up to much this week. Kind of just stayed in.
Really?
Yeah. Ate, slept, drank. You know, that's about it.
Didn't see
Nothing
much of the
else,
sun?
really.
Didn't really see the sun much this last week? No?
No, not too much, no.
I was gonna say, I haven't seen any of the Snapchats recently of you with like a beautiful Scottish sky or something, or lamenting because you've got rain back, so I wasn't sure. I mean, you had to at least go to work and such, right?
No, I had a couple of days off. So, I don't know what outside is anymore. Yeah, since Kitten got back, we've been sitting in playing video games. She's been playing a little bit of Scrim, which we'll discuss a little bit later. We've been working on the house a little bit, trying to do it to Kitten's satisfaction.
I have too much stuff. I can't move.
Oh, so you brought more than just yourself across the pond, I see.
Oh my god, and I still have more. More's coming. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I've hidden 3 of her suitcases still, and they're still not helping.
So I was gonna say, Ken, so where you thought you had a pretty decent sized flat to deal with, you've come to realize now that when it's just you, totally different
it's
situation.
great when it's just me. I've got too much space when it's just me now. Well, we've bought a new bookcase, we've bought a couple of new shelves, and we're still going to be struggling.
Somebody's
I think.
getting a new desk.
Nope.
Exciting.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting a new desk
Because I actually like to have a dining room table. That'd be nice.
So right now we're sitting. This is the dining room table we're sitting on.
Yeah.
And so that means we can't really eat dinner
No, can't have
in a
friends
conventional
over.
sense.
Well, I was gonna say, Ken, whenever you ate, it was just right there next to your computer anyway, so use the table.
Yeah, it's fine. It's ideal. Yeah. Whereas now, so we eat at the couches and we eat on the sofas, and now we're supposed to have a dining room table because we're adults and stuff.
Oh, look at Ken becoming all domesticated. Oh,
So,
I
on the
remember
bright
that
side, I'll be getting
feeling.
a shiny new desk. I get to choose what it is and everything. So within reason. So it'll be. I'll have a nice pink, girly desk that's hidden away in a place that won't let me play games.
Yep, the closet.
The closet. Yep.
I did actually consider that just a little bit.
Okay,
Because we have really big closets, but I'm not sure he could fit in there.
Oh, that would be awful to see Ken like next show. Ken's in this little closet of a room, like, "Hey, everybody. No, it's good. I'm having fun."
She thought she could stop me gaming, but she can't. I'll play like this.
Nice.
But on the bright side, it means we're going to have the new backdrop of being the wall again. So that'll be good.
Yay! We like the wall. It looks so industrial
nice
and artsy-like.
It looks professional. It looks like I meant for it to be cool looking. So it looks good. It looks like a comedy club.
It
like
does
being
actually.
funny,
That was my first thought there, which just means that when your back's to the wall, you'll have to be much more entertaining, Ken.
I can't promise anything.
All right. So,
Yeah, we've been up to absolutely nothing else. Just a bit of cleaning. I went to Edinburgh the night before Kitten got here because to go and collect her, to go and get her little cat carrier and all that. And yeah, we went out with a couple of friends. It was nice to see some old friends I've not seen in a couple of years. Had a couple of drinks. I actually met with a lecturer I used to know, a bunch of other people. So it was cool to meet up with some old friends. Other than that, I've been up to very little. Did a lot of cleaning this week for Kitten getting back. But other than that, that's all I've been up to.
He hired
honestly.
someone to clean.
I kind of hired.
someone. He didn't clean.
I spent a lot of time.
Feeling sorry for him.
I spent a lot of time telling her what needed cleaned.
gotcha. You were managing the situation.
Yes, managing it like a sensible adult who doesn't just hire cleaners because out of a whim. No, that would be silly and ridiculous. Yes.
I see. So, all right. Well, that's fine to cover up what we've been doing non-geeky this week. Let's see what we've been doing a little bit geeky. So, kick this over this and do what we didn't do, what I failed to do for the last section, and say...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
Aha! Time to talk about our geek cred for the week. And actually, I've totally failed as again, running things back into, getting it all in order at that last moment. I failed to go back to the emails and see what we have, see if anyone has emailed the show, other than myself with a bunch of news items.
So while you look at the emails, we were looking at the IRC there, and we read Cupcheck's message at the same time. I'm just glad Kitten's there. No more topless Snapchats. And then she sort of gave me a look, and then he literally said straight after, and before she asks, yes, I am a dude, so send awkward looks towards Ken. So I think Cupcheck actually saw that, what was happening there perfectly in time. Awkward turtle, as Kitten says.
Yes, awkward turtle. Nice. Let's see. Yes, we do have emails. Perfect. All right. So, although I didn't go and grab all mine, we have two, both from Cupcheck. All right. So this one came in. I was gonna say, actually, this one came in either during last show or right before. So it says, "Hey, I'll let you read the other one from us. Hey guys, just listening to last week's show, and I was wondering about the copy of Betrayal on the House on the Hill that your friend donated to the nerdy cause of game night. Yes." I need to know if the box is red, first edition, or black-green, second edition. Haha, checking eBay, the first edition is going for $300, and the second edition is going for $150. This is due to both versions being out of print and extremely rare. I would recommend playing this whenever you can due to never playing the same game twice, and even though there are 50 scenarios, there's more than 100 different ways to play. P.S. There's companion apps, which, yes, we actually all got during Game Fest so that we could run with it because the version he donated to me is missing a couple of pieces, and there's a whole story behind that I'll get into in a second. It says that recommends it due to the character shirts being tons better to use, and if you're using the one on iOS, they have the haunt scenarios in the app itself. Read at your own risk. Thanks from Cupcheck. So, Cupcheck, yes, the version we have, I believe, is the red box, but let me double check. I'll double check during the break probably. It's the red box, I'm pretty sure, because my friend found it on eBay. He had been looking everywhere for it, Brock Sampson, because he had played it once when another friend brought it over and was like amazed with how much fun it was and was looking for his own copy. He scrammed around same way, looking on eBay, just trying to find anywhere, and caught a version where, again, like you said, the nice pristine ones are going for easily $300 for what was originally like a $50 game. And the second edition's going for over 150. Well, he found one that a person had said that was the person claimed it was ruined because his mother didn't like how some of the content of it seemed evil. And so she had modified some of the cards in the game and stories and basically lined through some of the things because she thought it was too demonic and stuff like that. And so he was kind of like, oh man, that sucks. But he was selling it for a really reasonable price. And so Brock was able to get it for, I want to say he got it for like $30 or $40.
It's not bad at all.
I want to say it was like
so
30, 35.
Was it?
So that's the funny part.
Scored out, or was it just like bits of paper salvaged done?
So when he got it, he expected that it would just be like almost unplayable because it would be so ripped out and stuff. But come to find out, really, it was barely touched. I think she had lined out one or two things in the directions, like kind of scratched through one or two words. And the only real harm she did was she took one of the room cards, which was one that was the pentagram room. Go figure. It had a picture of sacrifice and stuff like that. And she covered it up with, she actually glued a piece of paper over it and drew her own little something on it and called it still kind of something like it, or made her own card essentially. But that was the only thing we could find that was truly ruined. And so we got
of happiness and hope.
Yeah,
and
right.
Love
it's
and
the
labs.
My Little Pony version of the game. But so she did it, but it really wasn't affected. And he, based on everything, the research he'd found, this guy really should have sold it for over $100, even in that condition. But so he got it really cheap. And then he turned around, and I think he also found a copy where some store or something got one in. And he was able to buy a full, unopened version for like $60 from a store.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so that's when he donated the other one to us here at Game Fest, so we always have it. Which I actually got to send out mass shout-outs and thanks to all of my friends who've supported Game Fest, because I've had a lot of things donated. I really need to make a video or something going through and just showing all the things people have brought into the house to help with Game Fest. I should do a little thing with my GoPro, walk around the house, because it's been a long time since I've given anyone a tour of the house kind of thing, and see what it is that's happened. So since I think I'm still mostly set up from the last Game Fest. But yes, so that is what has happened with the house on Haunted Hill. And pretty much it. Let's see. So, other email that we got in, and this again, it comes from Cupcheck. I'll let you read this one, Ken.
Alrighty. Do you want to read this one, actually, Miss Kitten?
You hate my reading voice.
Her reading voice is so funny. Listen to this, right? She has the same tone every single,
very mono.
You're not really self-conscious. You can do it.
I say, Kitten,
Where do I
it's
start?
just
Do I
us.
start at the
It's just
top?
us, right? Yeah, you just start with geek cred right at the top.
So the subject's geek cred and real talk.
Okay, geek cred. Pokemon trading card game online. Finally get around to playing Dragon Age. Board games after show X, so no game night with you guys. Hashtag sad panda. Hashtag using hashtags in emails. And then a little face
with his tongue sticking out.
Now, on to the real talk. A Canadian made me cry.
Oh, what?
Upon receiving... Well, that's a very rare thing indeed.
I know, the
upon
Canadians are so
receiving-
nice.
I know.
I know, right? So annoying. Upon receiving a package from Canada, I opened it only to receive Tim Hortons coffee, a mug of the traveling variety. But what got me was the handwritten notes from her own copy.
Aw.
Oh, she's
She's really good at those. If you ever receive anything from Copy directly, her handwritten notes are amazing.
The notes themselves were the items that were in the box that made me just go sit down and cry. Oh. I wanted to make it known that she is the sweetest person I've ever known. A week after my birthday, she said, "Happy late birthday. Now check Steam." I facepalmed myself. I facepalmed myself only to check that she's gotten me more games on that platform than I've ever gotten myself.
Aw.
I wish I had a passport just to road trip it to Canada so I could give her a big hug to show her how awesome she is, and to share a pot of Tim Hortons with her. Sorry for the sappy email, but I had to get out the word on how badass the community is around here. Thanks, Cupcheck.
Aw.
See, that was actually quite good. Oh, you give Kitten junk. Now, admittedly, at the very beginning of the email, I got that monotone kind of cadence where she was just like, and then and yes, and it continues.
So
and
what she does is she goes da 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 da.
Yes, the same cadence the whole way through.
Every single time. But then she started reading it like somebody was talking, like normal
Yes.
people, and that was great.
Well, and honestly, much props, Kitten, because reading on air and just trying to get the whole through a whole email without it constantly like messing you up, very well done. So, grats to you.
Well done.
All right, and our last email coming. Although wait, yes, Cupcheck Copy is amazing. She's one of the lead people in our community here for ShowX especially, but all of VTW. So as many respects and shout outs to Copy as possible. Although I think she's probably working because I don't see her in the IRC right now. But she has given so many things for everybody in the community. Has helped people out. Has lent her ear. Has lent money and games. That's why when it comes to her birthday and holiday seasons, whenever it's the time that we're all giving things again, I really push for people to give back in kind because she does so much for everyone else. And she refuses to listen to my advice where I tell her to be selfish and hold money so that she can get more successful in things, although she's getting there. And actually, that's probably what she's doing right now because I know she was in a point where she's going to be moving very soon. And so I believe it'll end up with her having better interwebs. So we shall see.
Oh, that is some good times right there. She has the worst internet in the world, by the way.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
Yes.
worst.
Oh gosh.
She
her
has
Canadian
6
internets
gerbils which pick up ratings of internet and try to make it.
little wheel to make it go.
They try to make a single bandwidth out of it. They've never even made one. The whole
No, she's running on bandwidth crumbs. It's bad. Yes. All right.
We've got one more email, by the way.
Yes, the one that just snuck in under the gun. It says, "This week in geek, non-geek, I got a letter, a physical, computer-written, size 14, Arial regular font, printed snail mail letter. It contained a real nice greeting from 2 of my good friends from the medieval fair and a high-quality printed photo from the fair of me and the guy who sent the letter, who also happened to be the guy who has taught me about actual fencing, not LARP fencing, but kill your opponent with a pointy end sword combat. I feel so retro. I am a step and a half from becoming a hipster right now." Whoa, scary. Uh-oh, major achievement. Spawn started school. Next
Hey.
year, he'll start having English classes. Yes, having English starting in his second year of school. Then we can get a new outro that'll have him actually understand what he's saying. Also, the new IKEA catalog arrived by mail. So much non-geekery. God, that IKEA. Yes. Geek! I ordered a flexible, battery-powered light strip for a book. Big book with glowing red runes is a work in progress off eBay. Ooh, that'll be very cool, especially if it's like on the cover and
cool.
stuff. I can't wait to see that prop, so that'll be great. I started reading Vulcan Lives. Nick Kime is an awesome author, and he is making the salamanders badass. Interesting. So I'm assuming that has to do with books about... Wait, let's see. Okay, let's read further. It was thanks to a Salamander trilogy that I made one of my first My Little Warhammer conversions. Salamander with chain hoof, chain fist. Ah, Salamander, so being a
My Little Pony
Warhammer
thing,
book.
I did that.
It's good. I watched the latest 3 episodes of Legend of Korra. Tenzin is badass! I need to catch up on those. I'm only like 5 episodes in. I think there's 13 this season total. Yeah. I have played a bit of Hearthstone. Still haven't got the balls or gold to take on Naxxramas for real.
Damn,
and finally, I haven't even checked it out. Finally, I taught my significant other how to thin his paints and refrain from murder or fine detail paintbrushes, and instead use the base coat brushes when painting his new Stormfang Space Wolf gunship. Painting skills. I need those for all of these things I'm trying to do. That more or less is it for now. That from Pusa. Thank you, Pusa, very much. And yes, that is very much good geek cred.
Definitely, but one thing, Miss Pusser, you know what? I have never met Mr. Significant Other. Why is he not here? Why is he not in the video wall?
She always keeps him out of the video wall, doesn't she? She like hides him from us.
Why is that? Are you hiding him for a reason? Is it some kind of... Does he LARP all the time? Will he actually charge in and be scared of your technology?
Is LARPing on air?
And try to stab it? That's what I imagine.
Sorcery.
Sorcery, what is the sorcery?
Hey, and it's cool. She has it in the wall. She has her picture that she received. Very cool. If ever I make it out there, I absolutely want to check out the whole LARPing thing, because it seems like Pusa does it a lot and is very much involved
well as
with
well. A lot of places just do it very like, we'll wear our normal clothes and kind of pretend, unless there's somebody else nearby, then we'll just pretend we're just normal people. But you know, it takes some guts to do it in like a normal Western country, I think, and I think it does elsewhere as well, to be honest. But I know I wouldn't have the guts to do it right now. I think I'd struggle to. I would struggle to run around with like a sword and sorcery books and stuff like that.
That makes
even
no
though I think
sense.
it would be cool.
That should be completely like normal for you, at least the running around with a sword and stuff like that. That's like your culture.
I do that anyway. It's how I get to work. Hey, it gets you there faster. You just have a sword in front of you. You just fly right there.
We actually have a sword right next to our bed. I'm not even kidding.
They know.
I was gonna say, I do too. I mean, that's normal. What?
That's normal. Yeah, we
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, totally.
Weirdo over here who doesn't have a sword next to her bed.
I know. Okay. Are you gonna get one for her side of the bed too? I mean, come on.
Exactly. Yeah, jeez.
Nice.
Don't make a joke. Don't make a joke. Don't make a joke.
It's good to know your wife.
Okay.
Or if you make a joke, just make it so it's clean on air at least. So no dirty
I saw that
words.
coming a mile away, by the way.
Thank you.
Nice. Anyhow, so what have you two been doing, Geeky? I know you've been busy and kind of held up in the house, but have you actually gotten the time to do any gaming or anything else that you would consider geek-worthy?
Today we have. Today's the first day we've done some gaming since you got here 4 days ago. What have you been playing today, dear?
I've been playing as usual, Skyrim. I bet everybody knew that. You know.
Nice.
So what happened today? What was the problem?
Well.
In fact, can I tell a story actually? This is a good story.
Go ahead.
Okay, so she's making dinner and I said, do you want me to set up your Skyrim for you, sort of thing? She went, yeah, please. So I went, turned on the computer, hooked up the Xbox for the first time in about 7 months.
Oh,
and
it sounded so beautiful. I was like, oh.
we just heard the booming Skyrim music coming out, and of course in my mind I had the silly misinterpreted lyrics from YouTube in my head going through instead of the real ones. Anyway, so I go on, I hit continue for her, I have it loaded up and I press pause. So she hears the music through there. She finally comes through, plays for about 10 seconds and kind of looks at me and says, what? I'm like, dear, I think must be the wrong save or something. So I went and looked in the different save folder for her, looked around,
It was
and
level 1. Level 1.
She was you were level 1.5.
The Khajiit, okay?
What?
The worst race. The worst
Yeah.
race.
Little
you
Khajiit named Tiger Lily. I was like,
Wow, where did that come from?
I must have made it.
The worst character ever. Couldn't actually do any combat, just did herbs. Just collected herbs. If somebody tried to attack, they just throw leaves at them and just run.
Nice. The hippie Khajiit, yes.
Yeah. But he loved his skooma though, so it's not too bad, you know. Anyway,
That sounds like
she
a
was
hippie,
panicking.
yes.
She said to me, Ken, it's been 218 hours have gone missing from my life. And she started going on a rant of how, like, I had my archery level 99.
My children!
And then she shouted, my children! My children! I spent so long making that house, my children!
I just got them a mud crab. I mean, oh my god.
So
Nice.
she was panicking, having hyperventilating a little bit.
I could feel like the 12 stages of like grief. Like I was just like flying through all of them like in like 1 minute. Oh my god,
no.
I can't even talk about it.
So
Gamer grief, yes.
So she says, fix it. So I look online, I see if there's cloud saving available or anything, because if the hard drive is screwed, that might be available somewhere.
Thank you,
Looked around
Steam.
And realized she's actually been playing on my profile the whole time. not been playing on her own.
She
So I
hadn't
logged her
actually
into
logged
her
into
profiling,
hers.
assuming that's where she plays the game.
Why would you do that?
I know, so silly. So it turns out she was just playing on my profile when she played, so.
So apparently Tiger Lily was Ken's, and
Yes.
didn't make it
No.
very
Yes,
far.
yes, it was.
That is offensive. I do not play Skyrim on the Xbox.
Well, apparently, under your account, there is a Khajiit named Tiger Lily.
To be fair, she made that as well. She must have just got confused. But I play Skyrim on PC with my character, Kenny Boy 2K14 Lad.
Oh my god.
Ken can't even LARP in game, let alone in life.
Can't even learn.
Kenny Boy with numbers nonetheless. Wow.
Of course. And he's an alcoholic.
Fan 27.
Alcoholic with a giant broadsword. And has no skills in anything. Intelligence level
Just
1.
shouts at people.
Just shouts.
Nice.
Doesn't wear any pants.
Don't wear pants.
Oh, jeez.
That's the UK understanding of pants, I'll have you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. So you well, we did talk about mods before, and I understand.
That's why I play on the PC, you know? Like,
like
you
that
can't get that
YouTube
real life
video.
experience otherwise.
Have you seen this video
Which
of all the
one?
mods in Skyrim? It was like what was it with the Spider-Man,
So-
and the choo-choo trains? It was.
I've
so,
seen a
it was,
lot of the
it
crazy
just
ones.
destroyed the purity of Skyrim. I
Yes.
couldn't
Tall.
even.
Thomas
That's
the
all.
Train for Dragons. I
gives
yes,
some
I've
realism.
seen these.
I was showing her the video that I posted on the Show X Facebook a few months ago, so you can all see it there if you're interested. It is quite funny.
Nice.
So she has been playing Skyrim. I've been playing Black and White 2. I was trying to get my level and ranked up in League of Legends ever since I tried to play with Graham
yeah,
and the
how's that
likes
been
and
going?
Ricky down.
What do you rank now, Ken?
Still Bronze Division 3, although I'm in the last place in Division 3, so somebody might have knocked me off by now.
Wow.
Probably have. So I might be Division 4. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
I didn't think you could really go down unless you just didn't play.
I'm pretty sure if I AFK'd each game, we would have done better. I'd probably be silver at least by now.
What happened? I thought you were a good player, Ken. I mean, I know I've seen you in ARAMs before and such, or a couple of
ARAMs.
other games.
The thing is, I either go Ash and I get like 40 kills and 8 deaths and like 4 billion assists and I just do awesome. Or I play Ash and I go 250 and do terribly bad. I can never do just okay. I either roll so hard, snowball so hard until I'm amazing, or I just fail at the start and fail all the way through. I can never do well in the middle.
Aw. So you're a
my
good
thing.
starter, good finisher. You just, the sustain's got some question there. Hi, Kitten. What? No?
I'm a good finisher. I love to play tank. I like the protection champions. Anyway, Black and White 2, I've been playing that as well. I finished the last level today, and it was saying to me, hey, do you want to go back and play the game again, but with all the stuff you've unlocked? And I thought, I normally don't do this, but yeah, okay, I hit yes, and I went to the first level and dropped the volcano in the enemy city and then left.
Nice. Just to
Just
show
enjoy
off.
that.
Like, yep, I
That
did
insane
that.
power.
Bam.
To truly feel like a god, you know, in the game, and this god sim. But yeah, that's been my week in geek. I've done very little else. Although tonight we have the gaming night, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the Steam UI has actually changed. I noticed that today, and that's something I'm a bit confused by. It's slightly.
No, they updated the Steam UI, and with it, you can. One of the features they added that no one was expecting really is the ability to hide games now.
Yes, I noticed that. So now I can hide the fact that I secretly played Monopoly from people. See, she left already.
No, he got really intense about that. He was like playing it like every day. He
The
got
difference
really angry.
You'll see I haven't actually played that once. The difference between me and Kitten in gaming is that her family and her idea of gaming and having good fun is to enjoy each other's company and occasionally steal money from the bank and from each other and try and steal property. My family is quite the opposite. We're like, these are the rules. I will beat you fair and square, but I will destroy you. So when me and Kitten first played, I can't remember what it was. Maybe
I
Oh
cheated
gosh.
so bad.
maybe in Sellers of
So
Catan or
much.
something.
I'd
I
say
was
that-
winning,
that-
and then I
yeah.
caught her. I was like, how dare you! How dare you! I was absolutely like stabbed in the back. Just
Self-righteous,
Nice.
I
et
think is the
tu,
word
et
for
tu,
it.
Kitten, et tu.
That's funny.
So
Well,
I don't play board games with her anymore.
I was gonna say that becomes a very contentious thing because I know when I've played various games, be it board games, Monopoly is one of the ones that fall into it because there are house rules. It seems like that game's been around so long that there are just certain rules that exist between each household. Same as like poker, blackjack, anything like those.
As Copy has shown us.
Yeah, exactly. You can make
Oh,
up
it's so
entirely new
true.
versions of the game. Easily.
Yeah.
So
They have
no,
versions.
that's hilarious because I've had similar interactions where I'll do something. It's almost like the free parking in Monopoly, right? Where if you land on free parking, do you take all the tax money in the game and put it in the center, and when you land on free parking, you get the tax money?
Yes.
Or does the tax money go back to the bank, and free parking is just a free spot? That is when you pay attention to the rules.
point of
That's the way
that?
it's supposed to be. But
What was
everybody,
that?
but everybody
What kind of
tends to
fun-
play it with money
What
in the
kind of
middle.
fun board game has just a slot that does nothing? How is that? Every other slot in the entire board does something apart from
Well,
that.
but that's part of that whole discussion, and I've seen people lose their minds over little nuances like that, where it's like, what? You can't do, stuff like that, and just, so
Yeah, I know what you
you
mean.
almost have to be careful when you first get into certain games as to being very sure you've described what each of the rules are.
You can't play Risk in my house anymore.
Oh.
My parents, I thought they were gonna get divorced. It was intense. So I think there was gonna be bloodshed. So that's another game that just no.
I had the best game of Risk a few years ago with a few of my friends. There's no cheating involved, but there was about 4 or 5.
I was
I can't
gonna
remember
say,
how many people
kids like, what? No cheating? What are you guys
There's
playing?
about 4 or 5. How many people can play Risk at once? There's quite a few, right? It's like 4 or 5.
It's like, well, you
I
can
think
have
there's
up to like
4. It's
8
like
or
the
something. It
different
depends on how
colors.
many different areas you can start.
Yeah. Well, we had about 5 players or so anyway, and there's quite a few. And about halfway through the game, I know we're back to LARPing again, but we decided to start naming our armies. So I had the undead forces of the Legion, because I was back in World of Warcraft in those days. And my enemy, my friend, who was just one-on-one at that point, had the alive forces of feminism.
Nice.
Who do you think won?
Well, it depends. Oh no, I was gonna make some very off-color comments. I'm not sure who won that.
The undead forces won against the legions of feminism. They ended up just buckling up and complaining, and the undead forces just ate them alive.
Gotcha.
I feel stared.
That's funny. Nice.
They fought violently.
You're really funny.
Good look. Good face there, Kitten. Shoot. So, all right, let's see. Anything else the two of you have been up to that has been geeky this week? That was actually quite good. No,
I'm still
nothing.
playing a lot of my symphonic metal on guitar. That's what I've been up to.
I want to start
Nice.
learning the dulcimer.
I wouldn't call that geeky. I'd call that hippie-ish. It is a hippie instrument. It is. Who here knows what dulcimer is? Come on, guys. Who knows what dulcimer is? Tell me your thoughts in the IRC.
Look at
We will discuss this. I can see Hando throwing his head back and forth, laughing though.
Oh,
So I
Hannah
assume-
knows all this, right? Mr. Sound Engineer
Freaking
there.
dulcimer.
I love the dulcimer. It's so relaxing.
Nice.
Give them 40 seconds for it to catch up so they can actually hear it. But then we'll see what their thoughts are. But yeah, that's been our week in geek. What about yourself, sir? What have you been up to?
Well, I've had some success and some failure in geek this week. The main thing is I had planned my Saturday to be nothing but a geek-filled day of working on cosplay. because NDK is coming up, and I have some things I have to finish editing and making for my costume to be Mugen. And so I was trying to get things running for that. I was actually going to have a whole group of people come over to cosplay with me, and then everyone bailed. And so it's just me. Which also left me to my own devices to do at least one project that I was successful in. Which if you saw my Facebook, anyone, you would have seen that I put together, or I had an issue where a couple weeks back, it was pointed out to me from my roommate that my PlayStation 3 had stopped working, or wasn't working correctly. And so I went to try to play with it and kick it on, and it would just beep and go beep, 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 and just shut off. Or just sit there and blink. And so it was essentially the red blink of death. I think normally I say it's green, but mine's red because it's an original PS3. And one of the old ones. And it's hard to say exactly what the problems are because they don't do a good job of giving you diagnosis. Any kind of signals lets you know this is the Blu-ray player, this is the hard drive, this is the CPU, whatnot. And so I just had to do the generic like YouTube fix for the PS3. I tried the first thing I saw, which was just reseating the hard drive essentially. Like maybe it was just the hard drive or something. Nope, that didn't work. So I had to go in and disassemble the entire thing. Now this is my second time ever going through and rebuilding a PS3. I did one for one of my friends back in the day, but I didn't really succeed, which meant no harm, no foul because it was completely trashed. This time though, I pulled everything apart, and this is feeling bad because my PS3 being my primary thing for watching Netflix on my television as well as for playing some games, but also for watching Blu-rays. And so I was like, I need my Blu-ray player back together. I don't have to go buy another one or something, and I really don't want to go buy one of the next-gen consoles. I don't want a PS4 or an Xbone One, so I'm kind of like, I'd really like this thing to keep working.
Are they? Oh.
Well,
So Ken's asking why.
computers.
Can I give a quick synopsis
Go
as to
ahead.
why buying a
Yeah.
console is a bad idea right now?
Go ahead.
PCs are better.
He tells me this all the time, but
PC
my
Master
Xbox.
Race. We really
Okay,
need to
so
make that drop in, by the way, the PC
When the
Master Race.
PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One came out, there was already computers out there at least 3 times better for around about the same price, right?
Well, so the key was, no. For the day that you could purchase the Xbox or the PlayStation, you could build a new PC, a gaming PC, that was just as good, but actually spec'd a little better, and play all the same games for the same cost. And that's building a full PC and plugging it into your television in the same way and using a controller. And we did a couple
means-
episodes where we talked about that.
You could use that for work. You could use that for personal life. You can be watching films, etc. An Xbone One or a PS4, you might not be able to do the same sort of content. For example, some Netflix could be restricted. You can't do whatever you want. You don't have even normal entertainment apps or normal utility apps, etc. that you could get on the PC, which is obviously more versatile and has a lot more software available for it. That being said, there are some good things with consoles. I mean, they're fun for having friends around and stuff, but I think that's the majority of what they have these days.
Well,
That's
I
it.
don't know. When I was back in America, I got to unearth a couple of my things, and I found my very first Xbox, and I still had Morrowind, and it was just, it just hit me right there. It just hit me right there.
Hit you in the feels.
I just right in the feels.
I would say consoles had a place back in the day, and yeah, you could. That's why I still have my PlayStation 2 and my Sega Mega Drive here. But I have no reason to spend that much money on a ridiculous amount of money on a new console when I can get a piece or improve my computer, which is already up to scratch, make it supremely powerful, and do so much more with it. So much more.
Fair enough.
And plus, there's the whole modding community as well. You can't get it with those games. For
Well,
example,
it's just
Skyrim.
it's because when you get a PC, you can do everything on the PC. The problem, especially with the new consoles, and they've shown this on both of them, the PlayStation 3 is still a better overall console and media player, like a universal one piece of your whole home entertainment system, than either of the new consoles. They're still trying to add features to the Xbone and the PS4 to make them comparable to what the PS3 can already do. And that's just silliness. And so there's like no reason to upgrade. There's none. Just get a PC and play all the games. There's like 2 or 3 exclusive titles that might be worthwhile, but the PC community is just so much bigger and better.
But sometimes somebody doesn't let you on the PC, and so you're forced to use console gaming because
then you
somebody.
should have your own PC.
I shouldn't I?
I've been trying to give her my old
Shouldn't I
one.
have my own?
So- so
yeah,
this is-
that's nice.
well-
Love that one.
No, now
Still sticky.
what?
That was high school Ken's PC.
Ken.
That's when I played World of Warcraft and stayed in my dark room for weeks at a time.
Oh yeah, you don't tell people about those computers. You kind of just pass them on or throw them
I'm
away.
afraid to turn it on.
So this is the opportunity that you use, which is a chance for Ken for you to upgrade your computer by giving Kitten your current. And so it's she looks over at you fondly, like, I would
Costs 2 grand
totally
for
do
anyone.
that.
Fine, right? Who needs a honeymoon? Who needs a honeymoon, right? We can just
It's a honeymoon.
Who needs a honeymoon? I'll just get a
It's
new
a
game
honeymoon.
PC. She can have
You're in
this one.
Scotland.
This.
Isn't that already like a honeymoon?
Yeah. Yeah, every day. It's great.
Sunny Scotland.
So nice. Love it.
But there is an
Charming
opportunity.
townsfolk.
There's an opportunity there, Kitten, that you could get a gaming PC as well, because there's nothing more romantic than two gamers sitting next to each other talking through headphones. And so you should definitely pick up on that.
Wayne, don't. You're getting me too excited here, man. I can't be like this on the show. Chill me out, man.
Nice. So, with my geek cred, I did manage to fix my PS3. I ripped it all the way down to the bare board. I followed YouTube videos and tutorials. Thank you, YouTube. You are almost now our better example of a conglomerated intelligence than anything. And went through and was able to pull it all apart, spent a lot of time using an air duster to blow dust out of every orifice of it, and found that the actual, like, you know, the material that they use, the heat, basically like your Arctic silver and stuff like that, the heat material that you put on there to dissipate better, was hard and crusty white whatever stuff at this point.
Like Ken's old PC.
Exactly. And so it was something that I had to scrape it all off, use rubbing alcohol to clean it all. There you go, Kitten. Some 90% alcohol. You should be able to get it all nice and serviceable. And I had to run a heat gun over the board once it was all done, and then put the new, and it was some weird, not Arctic silver, some diamond stuff that was terrible to work with because it's much thicker than normal Arctic silver. And so I had to trust that when it was going to be pressed together, it would spread evenly. So I really wasn't sure if it'd work, but cleaned everything off, made the board look almost brand new, put it all back together, and sure enough, booted it up, and it worked just fine. So, success!
That's
I did something
done.
well. Just in time to not. And so the other thing I did is I've sent back the hot board on my 3D printer, the hotbed, to try to get it replaced, since the wires, the way it was designed, sheared themselves off. So in the interim, I've been not printing, and I've started to lose patience because I'm not going to finish my Halo helmet if I don't get to printing again, let alone the cosplay items I need for NDK. So I decided to try to put a surrogate plate in there, and I found, hey, don't face palm yet. I put a cutting board that I had, this glass cutting board that I had sitting in my kitchen. It was almost the exact same size as the hotbed board, the glass plate for that, and I taped it in on the rails. And surprisingly, it works really well. It actually fits in there really well. Put the blue tape over it, it's just fine. Problem I had is, at the same time, the last time I print, my print head got clogged again. And so I went through the process of unclogging it and doing all that, but for whatever reason, when I tried to put it back together this time, it's still not happy. So it started printing a layer and got clogged again. So I'm kind of in an intermediary stage with that, where I'm hoping to get it working again, because I have so many things I need to print. But I'm just happy in the meantime that bed actually worked. I had to recalibrate it a few times, but once I did, it's kind of happy. So I'm somewhat feeling good. I have a replacement temporary board until I get my other one. So I'm going to try to work on that again to get it printing. We'll see how that goes.
Ken
Yes?
just asked me what a 3D printer is.
No, I didn't ask. I said, does he have one? I know what it is.
Look at
Yes,
her
it is a 3D
defending the
printer.
geek cred. So yes, Kitten, you have missed that I have a 3D printer, and I'm currently in the
That is so
process
cool.
of trying to print a Spartan helmet from Halo, and
Looks really
so it's coming along. It's not quite there yet, but
Yeah, you
working
missed
on
the
it.
shows where in the background you can hear the beep boop boop.
Yeah, the
boop,
constant.
boop, boop, boop.
For anyone who's played games with me while it is running, you hear this constant, kind of like an old electronica soundtrack where it's like, "Meh, meh, meh, and they're like, "What the hell is that? Is somebody playing?" It's like, "Oh no, sorry, that's my printer. That is progress. That is like things being created." And so, yes,
That's pretty
but
awesome.
yeah, I have my 3D printer. I've printed off lots of little things. Unfortunately, all the bits I have to show really are ones that have failed, because all the good ones I've either given away or kind of. I took a couple to work actually for a little bit. So yeah, like I have a TIE fighter and such and
Oh.
things, and so little stuff I've been playing with.
Dark
But anyhow,
Souls?
so printer is still broken, but getting there. And then oh yeah, actually Pusa put it out there. It says someone show Kitten the 3D printing pen. And I just saw, because on Facebook I'm linked up to a 3D printer thing, and someone used the Scoodler, I think it is, or the Doodler or whatever, which allows you to basically just extrudes plastic in the air so you can just draw with it. And they built a or as an octocopter actually, with the Doodler. And so they were able to build the whole structure just by hand. And built their own
I'm gonna-
quadcopter, which is really impressive.
I'm showing her just now of how it works. So it's literally just a 3D pen that you draw with. Obviously, you need to give it a surface at the bottom so it can stand, but otherwise it works fine.
So for those
cool.
artistic types, you can create anything in 3D space. It's really slick. And then the last thing I did was I tried to work on, like I said, my cosplay, and I have it all set up to try to do, and I just have been avoiding it. I almost got my shoes made. I have to make some of those wooden platform shoes, the Japanese style ones, for my costume. But the wood I had was too thick, so I have to go back to the hardware store and get all that. So that's what I've been doing. That's what's been geeky. Just in time for us to take a break here, play some music, and come back to you with some news this week.
Let's say goodbye to Kitten just now so she can go back and play her scrim.
She's welcome to hang out with
guys.
us and talk about news.
Can't
I
stay
mean,
if
I
you
know
want to.
that's exciting.
News.
Geeky
Yes,
stuff. The real
geek
geeky
news.
stuff.
Are you kidding? Although I do
guess
kind of want to bring up some of the stuff about the WoW trailers and things from Gamescom. It feels dirty. Anyhow,
Let's do it just now. So Ken wants to bring up our geek costume for Halloween this year.
Kind of
okay.
Kind of geeky.
theater geek. Well, no, not really theater geek. Just
Well,
it's not.
Tell us and
you-
we will judge.
Okay, so first of all, I really wanted to go as
Heisenberg and Jesse, but I didn't want to put on a mustache, so
I really want
or
to go
grow
as
out my own.
I really want to go as Heisenberg. I was just gonna go bald and get glasses. All it was, and I'd look. I think I
That'd be
would
pretty
do
much
part.
it. Yeah.
I think it would work pretty well, and I was really, really, really looking forward to it, but I've been
I
denied.
don't make a good
Convinced
Jesse.
otherwise.
I'm sorry. Can y'all see it? No.
I just wanted to do it for. I could go work.
Science.
You can see it.
I can
Nice,
see, bitch.
nice.
Yay. Science, bitch. See, that's no good. That's no good.
Well, I can still do it. Anyway. So we decided instead. You come on. You tell the other one. You tell this one.
We are going to do Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd. We think.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Thinking. That'd be our first couple's costume.
Nice.
So what do you think about that?
That would be an interesting costume. I can't wait to see what you guys
Not
come up
very
with.
geeky.
I'm still trying to figure
Plus-
out what I'm going to do because time is running out to get that one together.
It is. You gotta start assembly.
Plus, I know all of the songs off by heart because I'm not into that film because it's a girls' film, but it's
So
awesome.
into that film. He loved it.
Nice. Oh, very cool. No, that'll be interesting to see you guys get together and see what you come up with. And I know that, and I think it was for a Can't Stop the Serenity thing, but I saw a post from Roxy that showed her dressed up as Kaylee from that, and that was just kind of
that's
like an
cool.
off thing versus a Halloween or anything like con-wise. So I think it was just a Can't Stop the
Speaking
Serenity
of
thing.
geek cred, let's just get rid of all of Kittens forever and ever. For those who have me on Facebook and Twitter, they will know already. Yesterday,
Okay.
yesterday we decided
I don't
to
like
try
kids.
out Firefly because it's like the most perfect series ever created.
not.
It's
so
pretty damn good, yes.
And everybody in the world likes it. So I
Except
decided
for
to say, well, come on, Ken, let's sit down
one
and watch
other
the screen
person,
and I'll
yes.
show you it. So we sit down, I turn on the first episode. Halfway through, I turn and look at her and she's asleep. And I wake her up and say, do you want to keep watching this? And she says, if you want to, I guess.
Aww.
And then we put on a rom-com
Can I
instead.
just explain first? Okay, first off, he has been building this up for like 2 years, okay?
Right.
And I'm probably, okay, all right, I have this like weird hipster bone in my body that's like when someone says, oh,
You
it's
can't
really
watch
good, I
anything
don't
that's
wanna watch it.
popular. Bah.
Oh God, I don't know. I get annoyed. And okay, it was all right. And what's the dude, the captain? He's pretty cute. I appreciate that. He's
So
attractive.
you, like every
But
other
I don't
female,
like
likes Nathan
space.
Fillion.
I much prefer Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's the best. That was
Oh,
the best.
that was
See,
such an
it's not-
overrated series.
It's not about space, you see. It's not about space, it's about the characters being really
Yes.
interesting
but
and
it's
complex.
in space, and therefore
It's
I lost
barely
it.
in
It already-
space. It's mostly on planets, and it's more westerny than anything.
Oh.
So I will suggest this, kid, that you just give it. The first episode is the slower of the episodes, but it sets the stage because you get to meet all the characters. And after you get through the first episode, the second one's a little off just because it was a forced episode, but everything after that starts to really build to a point where you will care about these characters more than you did any previous Joss Whedon creation. The feels that these characters invoke are amazing, and you need to watch all of the series before you can watch the movie. Because then when the movie, it just makes things epic. And so I do suggest give it a try, give it another chance, get through the first 3 episodes, and then see what you think.
Maybe for you, Wayne.
That's my suggestion. It's
Maybe.
my suggestion. I said I am now granted I am a big fan and I have done a little bit of cosplay from it and
I
am pretty
saw,
much a
very
brown
good.
coat. So
I didn't know who it was at first, but then when Ken showed me, I was like,
that's Shepherd Book right there. Okay,
like, no, that's Wayne.
That's who Wayne went as and got retweeted by what's his name?
Nathan Fillion by the captain.
Something Fillion.
Yeah, the captain. He retweeted it to Joss Whedon because I was part of the group with a bunch of gals who were dressed up as the rest of the crew. So yes, that was a fun moment. Anyhow, all right, we're going to take a break. Kitten, you're welcome to join us afterwards, but we're going to talk about a few things newsworthy. And so with this, we're going to pay the bills, and we're going to play a little bit of Eurobeat. And so we'll be back right after this.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Fan of puppeteers, but I've a nagging fear someone else is pulling out the strings. Something terrible is going down through the entire town, wreaking anarchy and all it brings. I can't sit idly, no, I can't move at all. I curse the name, the one behind it all. Discord, I'm howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever did we do to make you take our world away? Discord, are we a prey alone, or are we just a stepping stone for taking back the throne? Discord, we won't take it anymore, so take a tyranny away. I'm fine with changing status quo, but not in letting go. Now the world is being torn apart. A terrible catastrophe played by a symphony. What a terrifying work of art. I can't sit idly, no, I can't move at all. I curse the name, the one behind it all. Discord, I'm howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever did we do to make you take our world away? Discord, are we a prey alone, or are we just a stepping stone for taking back the throne? Discord, we won't take it anymore, so take a tyranny away. And sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever did we do to make you take our world away? Discord, are we a prey alone, or are we just a stepping stone for taking back the throne? Discord, we won't take it anymore, so take a tyranny away.
You're listening to ShowX on vtwproductions.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to ShowX, just as Copia tells us on VTW. And it sucks, the ad I wanted to play there didn't play because it's still linked to old network connections, so I will do it myself and say, hey everybody, when we do our gaming nights and everything like that, we use a Ventrilo server that's provided to us by Typefrag. We use it for all of our gaming fun. You should come check it out. Nice thing about Typefrag is they provide gaming or services for not just Ventrilo, but they also host for both Mumble and for TeamSpeak. And so anything, depending on your audience and no matter what your friends like to play with, could benefit from hosting from Typefrag. We use, because we have a separate channel that we use with TeamSpeak for our local gaming that we do, and we like to host that as well. It's just so much easier than having to rely on your own server by having a server that's available for everyone. So check out all the services from Typefrag. All right, So as we go forward now, we're going to talk about things that are news related. So,
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
and today on the Geekoscope, it has been a busy week, although I have not kept up nearly as much as I should have because Gamescom is going on in Germany. And there have been a lot of announcements and releases about games that are going on right now. And so let's see. What do I see? Unfortunately, I don't really have anything specific to it. I have seen some trailers, and there's some ones that are looking kind of interesting out there. I guess some of the major news that's gone on is there's been some more gameplay from things like Star Citizen, which if you have not, but are looking at or have already supported Star Citizen, check out the VTW Gaming Clan for Star Citizen, started by our good friend Pause2142. We have our own ready-for-launch gaming community within Star Citizen. It's going to be epic. So check that out. There's links, I know, on the Facebook page, and I don't know if I think there's also some in the forums. So check that out, and you can become a member of the VTW clan before we even launch. And we'll have a gaggle of us ready to go take out the solar
gaggle?
systems. Yes.
Is that the official term for a group of VTWers? A gaggle.
I don't know. We should come up with that officially as when
We
we all
should.
get
I
together.
think it's more of a giggle, really, instead of
A giggle.
gaggle.
Nice. Pause. I know. Evolve. It's a fun game, but it's got delayed till July or January next year. So, but it does look quite fun. One of the beautiful things is getting to play Evolve because a friend of yours happens to have an alpha invite of the less than 100 people that had an alpha invite. And so it's a fun game. Anyhow, let's see. I do have a few things, though, that I wanted to bring up. All right. We've talked about this before, and it's very applicable right now, since this is something that Kitten just brought up today. But I have another newer but same old article from the aggregate that I love, News 360, that talks about building a Steam machine. It says how to build a Steam machine for less than the price of a PS4. So, it's... Hey, Kitten, listen. No. It's not hard to see why PC gaming is so straightforward for the modern casual gamer. Graphics can look better on PC than on console, yeah, but most people own a laptop instead of desktops these days, and the price of high-end graphics cards is still scarier than the combined efforts of a horror film festival. But there's another way. Steam machines are hailed by many as the future of PC gaming in the face of competition from the PS4 and Xbox One. Using a Linux-based OS like SteamOS cuts down system overheads. It means you don't have to fork out for an expensive Windows license, which is £100 by itself for many people. But SteamOS boxes have been delayed again and again, so we thought we'd have a go at making our own. So the rules they had was a setup that the TechRadar Steam Machine Club needed a dedicated graphics card. It says it's not a PC unless a gaming PC if doesn't have dedicated graphics. Second rule is it needed to look somewhat okay in the lounge. So they wanted who wants a full tower sitting next to their TV unless you're me and you have room behind your TV.
Yeah, I do.
I was gonna say mine sits behind the nice flat LCD. So hey, there you go. So the bits they got, let's see. I'll just go quickly through what they built it with. The graphics card, they used an NVIDIA graphics card. It was a GTX 751 gig for £79. And it's one of the kind of shorter, narrower ones because they're putting it in a smaller case. The motherboard they put together was a gigabit, and it looks like it's a micro ITX case, or a motherboard for £71. The CPU they got was an AMD, which if you're doing a tiny, low power build, that you're going to go AMD. So it's a dual-core 3.9 gig processor, which was only £39, which is silly how cheap some of those have gotten. For RAM, they got 4 gigs of 1600 megahertz RAM for £31. And so, let's see. Last bits of it. Hard drive, they got a regular spinning hard drive and 500 gig for £36. They got the computer case, which is a tiny one, and so it's a Cooler Master Mini ITX for £55, which came with a PSC power supply, so that saved some cost. They also got a gamepad, because if you're going to play, you need a gamepad. And so they got a second-hand wired Xbox controller for £10, because it's still one of the best controllers you can get for the price, and it plugs right in and works. And so putting all of that together, they were able to basically build a full PC for almost nothing. Because the nice thing about that is you're using the same interface you would with the television, so you don't really need that. The only other thing I would add on to this that you need that's not really discussed is you still need a keyboard and mouse. And I highly suggest like any of the Bluetooth wireless ones like the Logitech that they have for $30. Really nice. Put it all together, and the nice thing is they were able to build a machine that games just as well as a PS4 for essentially the same cost or less. And here's the
course.
beauty. You get all the benefits of a PC. Now, granted, with SteamOS, you don't get everything that you get from another, installation, but you can find deals that you can get the Windows install. Well, now you can get Windows 8 installed for a premium or almost for free if you have it set as Bing as your search provider. That's one of the deals they have
Yes
going
and
on.
no. I think it's Unix based, right? So any SteamOS build is Unix based. So there are so many games out there and so many applications, bits of software, browsers, etc. that work fine with anything Unix or Linux based. So I assume, as far as I'm aware, you can just use it as a general Linux system as well as just your SteamOS just for gaming.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
the problem
think you
where
can use it as a PC.
I'm not sure what it takes. Just because I haven't done the install, that's when I throw it out to you, Kuro. I know that you had built a SteamOS box, but I don't know if you still are running it or if you've done any more testing with it. I just switched because the Steam streaming works so well that I was able to stream off an old single-core PC that's behind my... Barely has the power to run 1080p graphics on YouTube behind my television, but it can stream full 1080p games through the network and play just fine. So the Steam streaming is actually really good. So that's what I've done, where I don't even really need a real PC. I'm actually expecting at some point to get rid of that and replace it with a Nuke, one of those little tiny micro PCs for like $200. See how that goes. So we'll see. But it's just this kind of is a timely article talking about specifically that yes, you can still build a full PC for less than the cost of a console if you're looking for a new system. So, all right, Ken, on to you.
Definitely. That is cool, dude. I don't know if I'm going to be interested in getting a SteamOS box because I like having a PC, I like having my own little area, my own little office area where I can play my games, I can do my own thing there. I don't really want it to be the living room area. I don't want to be at the point where me playing games on my PC means that I have to take up the whole living room space, So
I understand.
I can hear Kitten already breathing in with a bit of a sigh already.
The thing I say about that is I've always said there are certain games that play better with a controller and in a big group experience. So if you're playing like a sports game or an RPG where you're actually wanting to interact with other people in the living room, not just by yourself, or multiplayer games like that where you can do it on split screen and such, like a Sonic game or anything like that, it may be appropriate to play that in the living room with everyone instead of everyone huddling around your computer. So I think it's the back and forth, right? And the nice thing is if you can just do a Steam box that's just replicating what your main PC can do, then you can invest $200 or so and get all of the features of that gaming in your living room. And so that's kind of my argument for, but anyhow.
Oh, yeah, that's true,
What do you have, sir, for article for us?
Alrighty, let's go for some of the older stuff. I say older, not in terms of weeks, I mean earlier on this week. Let's go for, first of all, shout out to the family of Robin Williams, because they've gone through a very harsh thing in the past week.
Bring
I know
that
we
up.
kind of have to touch on that. Yeah, we have to touch on that a little bit.
Well, so we lost a great entertainer in the last week. We lost Robin Williams, unfortunately, what looks like to a suicide, and so there's a big concern with that, and a big shout out, or kind of notice to everyone, the normal PSA that says, hey, there are people that care, and there are people that are willing to listen to you and reach out. If you're ever in one of those down moments where you're just not sure how to deal with the world, start asking, ask for help, talk to people. You'd be surprised at who does really care. Whenever you feel like you're alone or that nobody's really paying attention, you might need to double check. That's actually very selfish and you might not know. And so we don't know all the circumstances. We do know that he was potentially just dealing with being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and things like that. And so there's a lot of factors there, but still, great entertainer, has made amazing content. But with that, there are some interesting notes coming out of it as well. Big thing is like Twitter has stepped up and saying they're going to do a lot more active things to stop cyberbullying on their end because his daughter received a lot of bad juju from people over Twitter based on his death. And so Twitter, that kind of threw it into the limelight. Another thing that happened, I don't know if this is something you were going to bring up, Ken, or not, but it was talked about there's been petitions put out there by fans to try to memorialize Robin Williams and various things, one of which is he was a very avid World of Warcraft player. He made lots of comments about how much he enjoyed the game and how many times he played it. And so there was a petition put out there, and I forget how many signatures it got, but specifically saying that people wanted him to be memorialized in the game. Build a character of some kind that talks, or that is Robin Williams, essentially.
And the great thing is, apparently so did Blizzard Activision, so they have actually decided that he will be somehow in the game, either be an NPC or he'll be some sort of other script or some sort of similar thing. That's the last I heard anyway. I'm going to look at the article just now so we can read it from there, straight from there from IGN. According to the petition, Robin Williams was an avid fan of World of Warcraft and he took his World of Warcraft characters very seriously. He often joked about his WoW addiction, but also about the reactions he'd get from other gamers when he admits he played the game. Because his presence within the community, we players of World of Warcraft are asking Blizzard to kindly create an NPC within the game that memorializes the actor and comedian. The petition asks for Williams' NPC to perform some of the actor's best jokes so that he may continue making us smile long after he passed. Petitioners got their wish late last night, and this is not actually last night, this is from the 12th of August, so this was 5 days ago they said that. When, in response to a tweet asking if they'd seen the petition, technical game designer Chad Nervig responded, "Yes, we're taking care of it. Robin Williams will appear as an NPC of some kind in the game."
That is really good to hear.
So, best wishes to the family. He died at 63. It's not a bad age, but it's not a great age either. He could have been on for a few more years
so
yet.
Much more.
So it is a sad time. So thank you for everything, Mr. Williams.
Well, interestingly, in the same vein, though, people were asking for the same kind of treatment to happen from Nintendo. They were asking that he get memorialized, and I forget in what game they were asking or in what way, because I didn't read in depth about it, but unfortunately it sounds like the response from Nintendo was very much the opposite. Essentially, not going to happen, too bad. And so some people were a little disappointed about that.
Understandably, I mean, you'd think... The thing is, I can see where they're coming from as well. I mean, with World of Warcraft, why is it only some popular guy gets it? Why isn't it just some kid somewhere who's dying of cancer who gets it? Although that also did happen with World of Warcraft, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, but they did do that.
Yes.
So why doesn't it happen to every single person, And eventually gets to that point where they'd have like a whole team managing just
putting stuff like that in.
Game,
Well, but this being because, we rarely hear about a lot of celebrities who are active and avid gamers who talk about the benefits of gaming and things like that, because you have so many that are too busy doing what they are that if they are gamers, you barely hear about it, or it seems kind of contrived. Oh yeah, I play Call of Duty. Yeah, totally. Or it's always on console. Very few are actual PC Master Race. So that
I play Candy Crush. Of course I'm a gamer.
Exactly. And yes, missing, we did also see that Lauren Bacall also died, but she was a big theater actress, and not, as we were talking about, the gaming side of things there. People dying every day, unfortunately. And this one especially because with Robin Williams being so young and just made so many people smile. So. But yes, not to diminish what Lauren Bacall did, just we were talking about the gamer aspect of it.
Indeed. Anyway, can I steal another one?
Go ahead,
I've got
sir.
quite a few to go through, and I'm really excited.
We got a lot of
through
news.
These. Okay, Bioware Shadow Realms is an online action RPG for PC. So I haven't actually heard of this before, so it's interesting to read about this. Bioware's horror action title, Shadow Realms, is an online action RPG due to hit PC late next year, so late 2015. EA has announced during its Gamescom 2014 press conference. Set in a modern fantasy world, that's always an interesting topic, featuring magical powered heroes that wouldn't look out of place in this room. Shadow Realms is a story-driven game that features dynamic co-op 4-player gameplay. I'm so glad they didn't say MMO there. Oh my god, I'm so glad.
Yes, tired of people trying to be MMOs. Just stop.
Oh yeah, totally. The game will pitch you and your party against its big bad, the Shadow Lord. The Shadow Lord controls possessing, entrapping, and destroying, and you can either play as or against the Shadow Lord. That's interesting. Bioware has been keen to stress that the story was at the heart of the Shadow Realms. The overarching narrative of the world will be released episodically, played out over time like a TV series. So they're kind of following what The Walking Dead's done with their game series.
Yeah,
so
there's The Walking Dead, and there's also there's a few games that have gone that genre now, that kind of episodic adventure type of games.
And if they're story-based, that's fantastic, It's just a change from DLC features. Now it's DLC story, and that's a new era of gaming, I think, in that sense. That's a really push forward understanding of gaming.
Yeah,
is.
having it episodic like that is fine, because normally what these games are doing is they're releasing at a much lower price point. So I can get on board with that, because if you're releasing a game that costs you $20 out the gate and each additional chapter is $15 or $20, I'm okay with that. Unlike, certain companies, Blizzard, that are releasing games that should have been a single thing with maybe expansions for half the cost, but instead are trying to release 3 full-price games. So, part of the swarm. Just saying. So.
Definitely. Shadow Realms will be released on PC late next year. Players can sign up to experience the closed alpha next month on the game's official site. I've opened that for myself right now.
Nice.
Now, there are a couple of teasers and trailers out right now, so if you go along and see them on YouTube after the show, you may do so. I would recommend it.
Nice.
Looks cool. All right, sir. What you got?
So on the line of alphas and talking about things like that, I have an article from Tom's Hardware, of all places, talking about the Unreal Tournament 2014 pre-alpha. It's available for download. However, so Unreal Tournament fans looking to get an early taste of the latest installment dubbed Unreal Tournament 2014 can already grab a pre-alpha build. The catch is that you will need an Unreal Engine 4 subscription to play the game, which costs $19 per month. Really, this is designed around the development community because really Unreal Tournament 2014 is about this community-wide development to build kind of a crowdsourced game using some of the best level designers, mod developers, and things like that that have ever been around the Unreal Tournament scene. I'm very excited for it. Anyhow, it says, Epic Games announced Unreal Tournament 2014 back in May, and Epic senior programmer and UT project lead Steve Polg said the game will be free and developed in conjunction with the Unreal Engine community. Quote, we know fans of the game are passionate about Unreal Tournament as we are. We know that you have great ideas and strong opinions about where the game should go and what it should be. So let's do something radical and make this game together, in the open, and for all of us. So the pre-alpha compiled by fans of the series isn't a full-fledged demo, but it's meant for providing feedback on gameplay. Those who have played this build report that it only provides gray box levels, meaning the textures aren't in place, so the game already feels like Unreal Tournament installment at this point in the development stage. That is exciting, if it's already getting a good look or a feel to it, even at the look. Because they've shown a couple of quick just scenes of what the Unreal Engine 4 can do in this, and of course in an Unreal game, go figure. But it's looking absolutely stunning. And so I'm excited for this. I cannot wait for the next Unreal Tournament. For me, from a shooter perspective, Unreal was still kind of the godfather of what it was to do competitive FPS. Anything that was like deathmatch and beyond, Unreal Tournament really designed it. It came up with it. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot. All right.
So I have a little update with the Shadow Realms thing I was just discussing. And I was trying to sign up there, and it says, first of all, it said, join with EA Origin. And I thought, oh no, anything but. But then underneath it says, this game does not require download of the Origin client. It's funny that they're specifying that to people.
Well,
like, hey,
come on. I'm pretty sure people got kind of like, really, Origin? Ugh.
Yeah. So that's great that they're not doing that. That's awesome. Well done, guys. So that's pretty sweet. Next article, though. You know I love Fable, right? Fable is just like one of the best games I've ever made.
For some reason, I guess you kind of enjoyed that overblown thing. Yes.
And I love Black and White. Lionhead are like one of my favorite companies of all time. And they say Lionhead's Fable remaster is coming to Steam this fall. That's a new bit of news there. We knew it was coming. We didn't know it was coming to Steam. That's big to me as well, because we know how much we love Steam. I love Fable. Steam and Fable. Steam and Fable. This is great news. Fable Anniversary releases September 12th. So, you know, just a month away? That's just a month away.
It's
month
coming up
days.
quick. Yeah.
Ooh. Actually, no, not month 11 days. Month and minus 5 days. Minus 6 days. That's awesome. Can't wait. It can be pre-ordered on Steam for $28. That's pretty tiny, actually. That's really cheap. That's it. What do you think that's cheap? Come on, for a remastered
for
game
an old game like that, meh.
Remastered, completely remastered.
Yes.
Doing so unlocks the first DLC pack for free, granting players 8 outfits and 6 weapons. Like the Xbox 360 version, Fable Anniversary on PC also allows players to tackle the game in heroic mode, which removes resurrection files and makes all enemies tougher. Lionhead teased a PC version of the remaster earlier this summer in a video showcasing numerous requests from PC players. So that is pretty cool. I love it. All things Fable, so I'm excited about this. What I'm sad about is that I have to buy it and it doesn't just automatically go through the fact that I already own Fable on Steam. That's kind of a shame.
Well, yes, because this is remastered, just like you said, so it's going to be prettier and better, and so you just have to do it like that.
Yeah, I know. But there we go. That's awesome. I'm really excited for that, and I don't know what else is as well. But personally, I'd be much happier if they told me they were redoing Black and White 1. Oh my god, I would be so happy. But no, just Fable, which is my second favorite series by then, but there we have it. And since that was a quick one, I'm going to steal another one, sir.
Okay.
And because it's World of Warcraft, so I know you'd never let me talk about it anyway, so I better do it while I can. World of Warcraft admits need for more regular expansions. They have a problem. Next month,
have several,
in a year.
yes.
Yeah. it'll be a year since demo released its most recent patch. How scary is that? That's weird. And yet still, the game's 5th expansion does not have a release date. Well, it didn't when this came out. It does now. This is not all remedied now, and is actually coming out. Let me just load it up as well, since it's the same thing. Is actually coming out on the 13th of November. So that is, what, 3 months away? 3 months and 5 days. Again, I'm doing this terribly. Minus 5 days. What am I doing? Minus 4 days. So that's great that they're actually coming out with that, because, you know, it's been over a year since the last patch. I remember back in my day, it was Patch Tuesday, wasn't it? So that's when they were changing hotfixes, they were changing little things. And then once every few months, they come out with the new Argent Tournament, or the Lich King, or the Obsidian Sanctum, so on. So you'd get more stuff every like few months, so you really feel that progression, you know? So you can go up, grind to the max level, so you can be some of the first people to get up there, grind to the max gear, so you can be some of the first people to unlock the next section, right? So you can beat it down with your guild and feel awesome. As a group, as a team, you can do something cool. But now that has not been happening because there's been no patch for an entire year. But thankfully, the new expansion is coming out on the 13th of November.
Just makes you wonder what they're doing with all those billions of dollars they've made off the game. Just curious.
I think, see, that's two things, right? One, they're blowing the money on stupid stuff, trying to stay afloat because they've lost like $6 million in the past few years.
Hookers and blow versus actual game design.
Or they're actually putting an insane amount of effort into everything in this next game.
But here's the thing, you know, there's been some rumors and stuff. Real quick, so I don't forget, I was going to say, when you're talking about HD remixes, the one I'm looking forward to is Kingdom Hearts, the 2.5 HD remix that's coming out at the end of the year, because there were rumors that it could come to PC, which that would be epic. If not, it'll be the next game I actually buy for my PS3, would put me at like 4 games I ever bought for that. But when you're talking about, because I just recently, because of Gamescom and everything, and I keep getting, because I was watching all these Red vs. Blue episodes, that is a geeky thing I did, trying to catch up on those, keep getting videos from both Diablo 3 coming out on the console, as well as the Lords of Draenor, or the Heroes of Draenor, whatever the new patch is, or the new thing coming for WoW is. So I actually went to their site and watched all the videos they have, except for the long BS over-the-top reveal they did for like 45 minutes. Boring. But actually watching the videos, I mean, okay, again, Blizzard, cinematics, amazing. So the whole story going in there with Hellscream and everything, that looked amazing and reminded me of the actual raids and stuff from it. But then when I watched all the changes and like the video that showed the graphics, graphics upgrade on these characters, yay, the cow looks a little more cartoony and silly face now. Yay, Taran. Beyond that, the world really looks basically the same, and every time I watch I was like, hey, maybe they've done something to the gameplay to make it really feel more dynamic and epic, and no. It is the exact same game that's been out there for a decade, everybody. Move on. Yeah. But, so I looked at it with the thought of, is there anything in here that's going to make me want to come back to the game? No. Not even close. Just, it looks so boring anymore. They're trying to make these efforts for like, look at these epic dungeons and raids and things that you'll be able to do. And I look at the graphics and I'm like, really? That barely looks different than when I first started playing the game. It's the still over-the-top color palette it has and the way too under polygon units and everything where I'm just like, meh. This looks just like every other raid dungeon that's ever been, except you did a big spinning crystal in the center. Woo! God, I'm so over that game.
This is Show X now with the new segment is going to be on every week from now on. Wayne hates on WoW.
No, I seriously was trying to give it another chance. I was going to almost quietly download it just to see, and then as I started watching those trailers, it took me completely out of the desire. No, that's the thing. I was like, okay, it's been a long time. Maybe I should give it another shot. I started watching the videos, and after the, again, cinematic trailer, I was kind of like, maybe I'll download the free and just kind of check it out again. As soon as I watched the gameplay trailer, I was like, nope. That's why I don't play that game. Effing stupid. So,
it's an old game.
It is terrible. Move on, people.
What would you think if they made WoW 2? Like
so they've discussed that. There is a little bit of discussion where they said maybe they're working on WoW 2.
Yeah.
Okay, do that. It'd be great to see something fresh and new with an entirely new engine and way of showing the world. What I'd much rather y'all did is make Warcraft 4.
Oh yeah, I'd like.
God, that would kill.
Like
Screw StarCraft and all the other crap you tried to do. Make a no doubt real Warcraft follow-up. That game was what brought most Blizzard players into your world. Just saying.
Not most. I think there weren't that many Warcraft 3 players. That's not right. There weren't that many Warcraft.
Well, that's what started their fame. They're
That's
just so
true.
much
That
better.
started it. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm
Hey.
excited for all Warcraft Draenor because I think the trailer looks cool.
Because
and
you're
all,
still
and
a
I
sheep
first-
and love it.
I still thought like time traveling orcs seemed a bit stupid to me, but after seeing the trailer, it looked kind of cool. So I'm interested to see how that goes, at least. I feel
do like
they're
the idea of-
reiterating it because they don't know what else to do.
Well, so here's the thing, right? I like the idea of the orcs going out and becoming a major part of the story where they're not being enslaved early on and they're able to make their own way. Sounds epic. What's that do for all the other races?
Who cares?
You know?
They're just
It
taller
means
than
it's
gnomes. Who gives
it
a-
means
who
it's
gives a
cool
crap
to be
about those
it's cool to be an orc now. You
Yeah.
know?
It's always been cool to be an orc, man.
Yeah, unless you were a kid, in which case you had to be a human or a pretty elf. But the whole point there is this is just going to bring it more so where you're going to have all these little kitties that are, I just, no. So, WoW has become to me what my good friend Sir Pencer has said about Eve. Great epic world with story and all these things behind it that is so much more fun to read about and hear about the experiences in it than it is to play.
Okay.
And so it is better. I would much rather they'd seriously finish the Warcraft movie because that is in the works. We know it's happening.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
I
yep.
will watch that because I think their cinematics and the way they tell story, epic. There's so much
that's
in the
gonna be
game,
so good, man.
but I don't want to pay a monthly fee to go and try to read all these storylines and stuff to get into there. And sorry, they're free to play as BS because it's only level 20 starting area. It doesn't matter. And so I would love to be able to have access to all that and just watch movies that you guys create, but the game is terrible. And same thing with Eve. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but God, is it a terrible game to play. Comes with some epic stories of people doing things in the world. It's why a lot of us are so excited for Star Citizen. Give us, essentially an Eve world, but where I'm a joystick jockey and it's fun.
Yep.
Can't wait for that. Anyway, okay, I'm just ranting at this point, and I will pull back and stop. I will try.
I actually looked at Star Citizen for the first time properly the other day, and yeah, it does look freaking amazing, man. I can't remember who it was telling me about it. Was it Hando? Hando might be telling me about it the first time, but anyway, it looks absolutely beautiful. So gorgeous. I'm so excited for that. What I dislike is different packages you can get. And do you see what you can get on the packages?
So it's interesting because it's all about ships and what you can get in there. And I have friends that have donated to all the level. And something that's unique that changed that I wasn't aware of, but Paz brought it up, and my cousin Hostile Prey also brought it up recently, was when I kickstarted it, the main thing you got was a ship that had lifetime insurance on it. So that no matter what, you blow that thing up, you're going to be able to get your ship back. Now, if you purchase, because it's no longer the Kickstarter, they only offer 6 months of insurance with the purchase, and even up to the top tier purchase. Because I think there's some silly thing out there that can cost up to like $1,500 or $1,600 to buy in that gives you every ship ever in the game. But still, 6 months of insurance. And so I'm just like,
you can pay
ooh.
$275 for a game if you want to.
You can pay as much as you want for a game these days. This is essentially collector's edition bonus, which is silliness. Well, and it's funny. I keep telling people Star Citizen. I'm like, if you haven't already bought into it, I'm not saying buy in now unless there's some specific good thing about the deals they're offering, because it's gonna come out eventually, and they've made all their goals, so they're making the game. Back when it was still a Kickstarter and it was unsure whether they were going to succeed or not, I was pushing like, buy into this game. I want Chris Roberts to make another flight sim in space. It's amazing. I love his work. I've loved every game he's put out. But now that it's happened, it's funded, and we're just going to be like, we'll see. Then I'm kind of like, you can probably hold off and wait for it to be done and then come get into the game. But that's just me.
It's interesting how these Kickstarters and crowdsourcing things work in general and whether they're going to work, because we're still in the early days of this type of funding. So we'll see how many people get stabbed in the back and are unhappy with the finished product and how it actually turns out. Because, what is the point in crowdsourcing and these sort of things? It's because they aren't already established. And in a lot of the cases, they're not going to be already established for a reason, right?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of these crowdsourced events and the Kickstarters and things like that are done because people they want to get out of the yoke of the traditional publishing houses and developers where they have to spend so much money on getting a game on the shelf. They don't see almost any of the money themselves and they don't get investment in unless they're already building a AAA title. And that's why we get so much of the constant games that are just iterations of each other. We get every Call of Duty, which admittedly I play a lot of, but you get just every Madden that comes out, and stuff like that, where it's barely a tweak in the game because they know it's going to sell. And so you don't get new games, you get rehashes of the same because they're known IPs that are going to be successful. At least with these things, you're able to get, some of them are good developers that are just trying to get away from the original mechanism developing, so they're hopefully going to be successful. We'll see. I mean, I've kickstarted a few things, Planetary Annihilation, Star Citizen, and a couple others, and I'm still waiting to see how they're all going to do. Planetary Annihilation's finally getting better. It's not a game that I'm ready to jump in. It's not Supreme Commander, but it's getting better. Star Citizen, I have high hopes for it. I'm trying to stay away from the hype because, God, I want it. And then there's games like Starbound that are admittedly still in beta or alpha phase that I've paid for and I enjoy, but I'm kind of backed away from because I want them to finish the game and then I'll play it. Because the other problem I have is I don't want to get too early into games and then lose all interest in them because I've already played the game. And now it comes out and I'm like, yeah, I played that game. So I kind of want.
I never liked betas. You know that the only beta I actually enjoyed was Minecraft because I got properly into that, and supposedly World of Warcraft as well, I guess, because they're so big, right? So you can never get really properly sick of them. You can always go back and have something of a new experience, even if it's not a full, new experience.
Oh yeah.
And that was so great. But for these kind of games, playing like StarCraft 2 or like Diablo, I don't want to play the betas of those because then I'll just play the game. I'll just play the game. I'll just play the whole game.
It's one thing if they give you a beta that's all of just the beginning levels because they're testing it, right? Just so they're testing things out. But when they give you access to essentially the entire game, and that's what a lot of these Kickstarters are doing because you've paid in, that now you're kind of like, well, difference in Star Citizen, they're just giving you the arena, and so you can just kind of fly around and say, wow, this is really pretty. And now they've added to online combat so you can play against other players and stuff, so awesome. But it's not the full universe, full game, so there's still a lot coming out. And because they're going to have the single-player experience in Star Citizen, even if everything else I've played, I want to play that single-player experience. So there's something different there. But it's a challenging thing. There are Kickstarters I think are valuable and good. There's some that, it's still that risk. And so there's not a lot that I'm going to tell people jump on this. There's a few that I'm kind of like, just hold off. And when it comes fully out there, I'll be all over it. And we'll see.
It's the same with most things in culture these days. I think we should always just wait and hold off and see how... Like movies, I don't go see a movie until I hear from other people if it's good or not. I never... except for World of Warcraft movie. That's the kind of thing you're like, yeah, I'm going to go see it.
There's some movies that you will go see because you're just that excited. But it's like I say, with every MMO that comes out, I keep telling people, don't play it until 6 months after. If you really want a game that's going to take you away from everything else you've been playing, give it... Or 3 months, I'd say. Give it 3 months to get the initial excitement out of people, to really find out what bugs are, give them their chance to do their first patches, and then you can say, is this really a sustainable game? Otherwise, I guarantee that most people I've talked to that get into new MMOs, after a month or two, you're done. And then you're just like, okay, why'd I jump on that one? And Missing's throwing in there that he says in the IRC that he still enjoys Starbound, and he says mods for the win, which I appreciate both those things. We love mods here. All right, I'm going to jump on another quick article, hopefully. Sure. And then we'll get back to more of the game announcements because you've done a better job than me following Gamescom. This announcement comes out about Twitch. And so for those like Paz and Octail and myself who like to stream on Twitch, it's a good thing to note. It says, after Twitch's music copyright crackdown, what about games themselves? So if you haven't heard, Twitch, after they've been acquired by YouTube, right? And so now they're starting to implement some of those automated features that YouTube has for copyright protection. The main one being music. A lot of famous streamers and people that are making a living off of being on Twitch and being entertaining have done so on the backings of music. A lot of them play soundtracks behind them while they're gaming or even in their breaks and things like that. And so what Twitch has now done is using the same technology that YouTube has, they are screening streams for basically copywritten music. And if they catch it, they will temporarily mute the stream. And so this has caused a bit of a outcry from a lot of the streamers out there saying, what are you doing? This is our livelihood. This is the architecture you built us, and now you're taking it away. Now in doing so, they've been kind of flying under the radar, Twitch, because yes, all this stuff is copywritten. Well, here's the scary part. So is game content. So as the article goes, it says, video game streaming site Twitch is officially a big media site and can no longer fly under the legal radar, as evidenced by the announcement that videos in its archives with unlicensed music will be flagged and partially muted. After some of its power users flipped out, Twitch admitted that, quote, it screwed up. The announcement and promised to add appeal button for music that users think was flagged in error, but the actual act of cracking music on unlicensed music, cracking down on it, a seemingly necessary move to avoid trouble from the music industry, and they say it's here to stay. So what about the video games themselves? Could a copywritten game get taken down from Twitch at the behest of the gaming industry? And so it's come out there, Ars Technica specifically brought out there and said, Twitch has already muted videos of Pokemon for containing Pokemon music, and Punch-Out for the NES because it contained music from Punch-Out. Yes, a video game site banned video game music. Keep in mind, these videos are still infringe on copyright. There's nothing magical about audio. Images from a game also are copyrighted, and Twitch has left the video up, which means they're still violating copyright. And so as of press time when this article came out, they had yet to respond, but they talked about it in an AMA on Reddit. The CEO of Twitch, Emmett Shear, said game companies, quote, have the public stance and privately stance directly with Twitch that broadcasting video games is okay. Gamecasting is part of the basic license in the game, he said, and pointed this Reddit compiled list of studios that specifically put that in their policies. So that's quite good. The problem is it's not every studio. So there's still some potential.
Doom 1 didn't do that.
And that's the problem.
Somewhere.
And so with that, there's a concern there that things might start getting pulled from Twitch. For me, I want to throw it out there because Twitch has changed a few things recently. One, you can no longer archive a video indefinitely. You can highlight up to 2 hours now, but you have to go and highlight it to keep that video. Things that were old and kept there are there. I've actually run into this on our show on YouTube, and there's concern. Our last episode, or a couple episodes we've had, have been flagged. And the reason being is because of the song we played during the music break. Some of them,
those ones that we're all completely licensed to use. We
so
asked permission
here's
from
the
authors and
problem,
we were
right?
told we're allowed to use them.
So the problem is because they have an automated thing that looks at it. Now, there is an appeal process. One of the ones that I ran into, though, was parody music. Parody music is on this real bad cusp because when they do their automatic filter to say, is this already licensed or something song, it goes through and it compares it. And what I've hit is that it's always the original version. Yeah. And under the appeal process, it says, some of your options are, hey, I've credited the artist this and that. And if you click all those ones, they come back and say, that's not actually legal grounds for being able to do this. Too bad. We're still flagging you. Yeah. It's like, and you've now acknowledged that you realize you've done this. It's like, that's kind of sketchy, YouTube. The other side is then because one of the ones I had was a parody, they don't have an option for that, for parody music or anything. They've either got, you have the license, or this is not a licensed piece. But because there's someone who says it's their licensed piece, you automatically have to go through this process.
That doesn't make sense because legally speaking, if you are doing a comedy act in America or in the UK, if you are doing a comedic act, you can make fun of anything and get away with it licensing wise. That's why the whole Starbucks thing happened last year, because those guys said, like, what were they? Star FUCKS or something like that, weren't they? They just didn't give a crap. They sold effectively Starbucks stuff and they gave all the money to charity, but it was all a comedic thing, so they get away with it through the licensing because there was no longer Starbucks.
Well, that's the thing. You as the artist, you as the artist who creates a parody can appeal it and say this is a parody. Us as entertainers who have a show that may contain another artist's music that's legal do not have the means to say that we have the license to do it. Because we have to go through this whole other legal process of saying that, no, this is free to play music. How dare you do this? But because they automatically do this through bots, and it's based on the way, it's basically the same thing that any of these services out there that identify what music's being played and find new lyrics and stuff, same concept, it automatically finds the source and says, oh, I think this is copyrighted, and therefore flags it. And in some cases, all it does is it'll put ads into your stream, but here's the shitty part. Those ads that get put into your stream will generate revenue for the company whose licenses say it belongs to, not for you. And so it's this whole sketch thing beyond it that I'm starting to realize because of the, automated process that they're doing. So now with Twitch, the theory or fear is that some of that's going to start happening on the game streams. So keep your eyes out. That may happen.
Well, let's see what happens in the future. Perhaps other services are going to start to get used more because that's what happens when
there's potential there. They've talked about that could be one of the fallouts. Is there are a few other companies out there that aren't Twitch, but could now resurge to try to become the anti-Twitch. All right, sir, back to you. Give us some more games.
Sure thing. Surgeon Simulator getting Morpheus support soon. Surgeon Simulator, which I've never seen the appeal for, but okay, is getting VR support with Sony's Project Morpheus. Following the game's release on the PS4 today, and that was, again, 4 days ago. The news comes of the announcement that Surgeon Simulator Anniversary Edition would be getting PS4 exclusive local co-op through a feature patch. Bolsa Games head Imre Jelly made both announcements on Twitter today. No release date was announced for Morpheus support, as Yelly only said the VR version is in progress. So that's kind of funny. So you could be a real life doing your silly surgeon, throwing people's brains, it's like dunking them like a basketball.
Well, so this is something that's already existed on the Oculus Rift. And so it works natively with the Oculus on Steam if you use the PC version. And what people have done is they've also taken the Hydra controller, the dual thing controller, and that way it tracks your motion. So now you're playing Surgeon Simulator. You're looking down at your patient and you have your two hands. And so you're actually able to reach in and and I've heard that's one of the better virtual experiences you can have today is using the Oculus and the Hydra to play Surgeon Simulator of all the games out there. And so, yes.
Very nice.
Kuro, why do you do that? Yes, I've seen that article. Why not? I'll throw that in there since it's totally separate and we're both photography guys. So I've already read this one, but this is essentially an article that came out talking about a rumored release for the new Canon Mark II from the 7D Mark II. And so it says, check out the latest rumored specs for the upcoming Canon 7D Mark II. So one of the things that happens with photography, and for those of you who don't care, too bad, Ken and I are photographers, deal with it. As is Kuro and a lot of our audience. But they will release whatever cameras they do, and it seems like whatever the most recent release is the one that has the best specs. And that just is kind of how it works. So the new one, they haven't given all the details, but they've started talking about some of the rumors with it. And one is that it's going to have a full metal body, which isn't much off of what I already have on my 7D. It's a full magnesium one that they're going to up some of the things like the burst capability. Mine's currently like 8 or 9 frames per second. They're going to go up to 12 for burst photography. That they're going to use a new AF system, autofocus system, that's going to be the best thing out there apparently. And that it's going to be a 24 megapixel sensor on it. Now, I would have been really excited if they had said the new 7D was going to be a full-frame camera. Whoa, that'd been amazing. But it's not.
What I really like about this as well is they're not having some disgusting features that they're saying at the bottom here, which actually ruin parts of photography, in my opinion. For example, Wi-Fi and a touchscreen. You know, Wi-Fi is such a slow transfer, and it bulks up the price of a camera that's completely unnecessary to me. I'll rather transfer it more quickly through old cables and stuff. I don't care. I'm fine with that as long as it's cheaper. And same with the freaking touchscreen. I don't want to have a camera that I touch with my nose, and it does stuff.
Suddenly changes something.
You hold on your face, which is touching it. No!
The only thing about the Wi-Fi I would have liked to have Wi-Fi included, because if you're doing a shoot where you are actually syncing it with a laptop or a PC in your studio, you can get the instant live view of the camera of the picture. So it's one thing to look on your little sensor, right? Your little screen. To be able to see it full screen right away, so that's you know, like, I need to take the shot, that'd be amazing. And wirelessly syncing flashes. Because all the new flashes they have wireless built in, and so like my brother's 70D can link with his flash separately, so he can just take a flash off camera, set it somewhere, and it's already synced. He doesn't have to buy any extra pieces for that. So that would be nice with the Wi-Fi. But that's just me. Because the fact that on my GoPro, it has a Wi-Fi adaptation or Wi-Fi built into it, so I can look at it with my phone since it doesn't have a back screen on it, and I can put the GoPro somewhere and actually see where it's pointed. Kind of a brilliant feature. I really like that. So,
okay, that's cool.
So I was going to say, that's one thing I'd like to see. We'll see. I'm not in the market for a new body yet. I really want to go full frame, but yes, Kuro, I'm very interested in all the new cameras, and it's just nice to see that they're going to refresh one of their single-digit lines. Still waiting for the new 1D, because that would be awesome, but yes. All right, sir, back to you on a gaming news. Probably our last one before we have to end things up, since we have 5 minutes. Maybe. We have a quick moment.
I'm going to do 3. I'm going to be quick. Okay. Defense Grid 2 is coming out. Sequel to 2008's tower defense game Defense Grid The Awakening will be available as a digital download on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yep.
It's currently on pre-order on Steam for 10% off at $22. This price includes immediate access to beta for Windows users. That's awesome. It has 21 maps, new threats, new game modes, including online PvP multiplayer co-op, and a bunch of other stuff, which is awesome, including Steam Workshop content.
Awesome.
Sexy as hell. I love Defense Grid 1, and that is just so many good features. Awesome. The Witcher adventure game, a card-based complement to the RPG. The PC version of the upcoming board game features plenty of investigations and monster battles, but no sex. It isn't coming until February 2015, but fans will be able to get a smaller Geralt of Rivia fix, or Geralt of Rivia even, fix sometime this year with the Witcher adventure game, which adapts the mutant monster hunter's adventures into a turn-based board game. Planned as both a tabletop and an online PC mobile game, it pits 4 players against each other in an indirect, continent-spanning competition to see who can complete the most quests. It's currently in beta at GOG.com, goodoldgaming.com, and while it doesn't have the gore, sex, or intrigue of its action RPG cousins, it does its best to capture the feel of Geralt's world. League of Legends has a new champion, Gnar, and available. Players can access Gnar and his skin Dino Gnar for 14.62 RP. That's not too bad, but
too expensive.
Not paying for champion.
Yep, expensive. Or 7,800 IP right now until it goes down in price next week.
But he's going up for 500 RP next week, yep. He's described as a double-headed beast, best played on the edges of the mites of his mini-form and in the enemy's midst as Mega Gnar. He is armed with a boomerang and a boulder and is said to have a temper teetering on the brink. Visit Riot's official champion spotlight to learn more.
Hey,
so
admittedly,
thanks to IGN again for all of my articles today.
Admittedly, that one looks fun, and I've seen it once in an ARAM so far, and I thought he was pretty cool looking, although the guy had no idea how to play him. And so, yeah, my cousin couldn't get him either. He was kind of like, what is the point of this character? And I was just like, you're playing it wrong. But that was just me. Because I'm actually going to buy Gnar as soon as he comes down in price.
Really? I'm not. I'm not a big fan of the Yordle, so no thank you.
I want to play all Yordle teams. I do.
Okay, that does sound fun, actually. All Yordle, yes, please.
All Yordle, all little,
Okay.
and just be like,
I'm in.
Yordles! Teemo and Corki, and
that's
you
horrific.
put Corki's a Yordle. You do, or not Trundle, what's his name?
Tristana.
Yeah, Tristana.
Corki, Tristana, Teemo.
I was thinking the
Gnar,
guy, Rumble.
Rumble. That's 5. That's 5.
They have a whole list, because if you look at the actual Gnar release video, they have this whole parade of them running down, because Lulu is one.
Lulu, yep.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch now. You can play an all Yordle team. I want to do it. Anyhow, it is time for us to end the show up as the casuals have entered the IRC to let us know that they've got Alpha Geek Radio's Casually Hardcore coming up next. So Ken, would you please set everybody down with all the things and stuff and all that?
Sure. Also, there's a definitive list here of Yordle champions. Rumble, Puppy, Fizz, Teemo, Ziggs, Corki, Nunu, Tristana, Kennen, Heimerdinger, Vigar, Amumu, and Lulu. So there's already quite a lot, and, now Gnar.
Yep,
Anyway,
can definitely do it.
So there's a minute left. That's
All
a
right.
minute 30 of the show left. So, send in your emails to showx@vtrussians.com. Tell us your thoughts, your feedback, anything you wish to share with us. We would enjoy that. Send us tweets to VTWShowX for the show, at DocDead for Mr. Wayne here, and at GoHex for myself. Check us out on Facebook, ShowX there. See our latest. We have funny videos there mostly. That's where you can catch that kind of stuff, where we share our intriguing, geeky stuff there. Always good fun. Check out all the shows on VTWProductions.com. We're all good quality. We don't let any poop on our network. No, we do not, sir. And check out our forums. We've been paying a lot of attention to them recently, actually. It's looking quite good. Same with the main website. Check them out. And finally, VTW Gaming Night every Sunday in 1 minute's time is our every Sunday VTW Gaming Night. It's lots of fun. We play either the same games or separate games and just hang out and be a community. So join us in the Ventrilo. We will have some fun. I'll see if I can convince Kitten to go and join us as well for a little while.
Woo!
Thank you for
All right.
joining me, sir. It's always good fun.
Good job, sir. Thank you very much. Listen to all the shows on VTWProductions.com, and we are out of here, everyone. We will catch you again next week, and I have some knowledge about things because I'll be gone all of September. So, anyhow, we'll talk about that next week. So, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much, Ken. Everyone, have a good week.
Bye. See you in the next zombie. Good night. Also, good.
We wanted to write something special since we were going to be on the air today. So last night we put this together.
All right.